All right. Well, we're motherfucking recording. Can we swear? Can you swear? Are you allowed to swear?
I swear all the time.
Okay, cool. That's fine. What's up, everybody? That was a loud noise going past. What's up, everybody? This is the Duke London Podcast, episode 40. I heard a stat the other day my friend sent me saying that most podcasts don't get to episode 12 or 20 or 12 or something like that. And then of those that do, no, most podcasts don't get past episode 3.
Okay.
And of those that do, 90% don't get to episode 20 or something like that. It's like, so it's like if you've hit a certain, it's like if you've hit 20 or something. I'm probably talking shit.
No, but that sounds about right. I know bare people with podcasts that didn't make it past episode 2.
Really?
Yeah, I've been on a couple of those, you know. So it's nice to be on one that's episode 40, right?
40, man. Yeah, that's
40.
It's like, and some of them have been multiple people, so it's like it's like over 50 people that I've had on the podcast so far.
Mate, the group chats you've had look sick, you know.
They are fun, but the annoying thing is I can only do them in a studio because I don't have the full setup yet.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're getting there.
Slowly but surely.
Fucking so many plans, and they cost so many pounds. So
Sponsor him.
yeah. Oh, please fucking sponsor me. But no, I'm working on some shit. I feel like I've been saying that for fucking 15 episodes. I'm working on some shit, but I really am. And I tried to apply for some funding, got turned down, felt pissed off for a day, got back up and tried again. So yeah, just trying to build. And yeah, episode 40. I'm proud of that. So thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks
Bro,
for having me.
how do I even introduce you? Because what's your fucking surname? Is it Khan? Khan Fu?
What, my government surname or
What one are we using?
well?
I don't know. You want the government to know?
Yeah, everyone knows. It's on my Facebook, you know.
What is it?
It's Khan.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
Oh
my
yeah.
name.
Okay.
That's
I didn't know if it was like.
That's why it's Khan Fu, you know.
Yeah,
Confucius.
true. Confucius. Why is it Kung Fu?
It's short for Confucius.
Like Confucius. What about Jam Fu? Why did he have Fu?
His was like the Fushnikins.
Jam Fushness.
No, it was just trying to bite, you know.
Yeah.
Just to put it clear though, like I was Fu first, you know.
Oh,
yeah, I was.
shit.
But because he used to be called Dizzy.
Yeah, that's when I knew him.
Yeah, people still call him Dizzy now, you know.
Yeah.
But no, he took his Fu because I think Poe 1 gave him the idea of like your name meaning something like an acronym. Like Poe 1 is peace on earth, for example. So Jam went with like Jam for Unity.
Oh.
Because Fushnikins, you know, the 90s rap group.
No.
So
But I do now.
yeah, you definitely know some of
Okay.
the songs if I play them to you. But their FU stood for Unity, and they just added Schnickens as a random gibberish word.
I thought that you two was like a DJ collective or something. And
It ended up like we was, but
Okay.
it was unintentional. The Fu, you know, like because our original DJ crew was called Down by Law.
okay.
You know, 5 of us in Brum when we were all starting out, like 18, 19 years old.
Right. Worst intro of all time. So
Oh yeah,
this is Adil.
yeah.
Okay,
Adil or Adil or Adil.
Bro, you know what's mad is like the amount of people. Like I had Sonny on last time, and I was like asking him if I pronounce his surname right, and it's like these people that I've been speaking to for like 10, 15 years, like including you, and it's like I'm like I now I have to be careful of how I pronounce your name.
But the thing is, still, it doesn't matter to us. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but it's different from me just saying at a jam like your name, and you're like, yeah, that's not quite how I say it, but it's fine. But and then having it recorded, and then everyone's listening like,
out there forever on the internet.
yeah.
No, Kung Fu, you know, people call me that all the time.
Kung Fu.
Adil, you can call me whatever, man. I respond to all equally.
Well, Kung Fu Adil is here, episode 40, the Duke London podcast.
Blah, blah.
We are in Coventry.
Yeah.
That's why this is a hotel room. And you're here for Break Mission.
Yeah.
And I am not here for Break Mission. I'm here because I'm performing with Kieran Warner's circus company. That's right. I'm a circus performer.
Shout the company out, man. What's it called?
Simple Cypher.
There we go.
I'm not a circus performer, by the way, before they see that and cuss me. I'm a dancer, and I'm doing dancing and like 3 throws of juggling just so that I can be in the piece. But and that's the bit I'm the most. I have a whole entire like 4 minutes.
What are you juggling though?
Like real juggling balls.
Okay. Not like knives or anything.
Oh
flames.
fuck no!
No,
I can barely catch the
yet?
juggling balls, bro. Like they're
That's disappointing.
Oh mate, you should. It's disappointing to see me juggle, to be honest. Bro, I have like a 4-minute solo. There's like 2 choreographed bits.
4 minutes. That's a long time for a solo, you know.
There's like bits in it like where they join in and stuff. It's not like a real solo.
Because 4 minutes of dancing non-stop as a solo is intense as
well, yeah, I'm dancing pretty much the whole time. And then there's like, it's a 30-minute set, but it's like, there's like legit like 2 bits where I have to actually juggle like a 3-ball 1 2 3, and it's the most stressful thing. Like when the solo comes up, I'll just like I can just dance, but the fucking this, I'm like, this is the moment where I can fuck it up.
Are you dancing beforehand so you start juggling, but you're already like sort of rushing?
Nah, that's the good thing for that bit is like I'm chilling before. They have a duet, and Kieran and Ed are both like sick jugglers, so they do the juggling. I chill at the back, and then I join, start off the next bit with a juggle. And then we go into some other shit.
You look good by association, basically.
Yeah,
they're doing the real work, Go see the show. That's not too much of it away,
No, yeah. I mean, some of it's online, but they've been performing it for a while, so there's like bits and pieces all over. But yeah, come and see it. Anyway, thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me.
This has somehow turned into the fucking B-boy podcast. I'm doing suppose. Well, no, I won't announce that yet in case it doesn't happen, but. There's another. The next pod is going to be with the B-boy as well, if it happens. So, yeah, I'm a spokesperson for the breaking scene now.
Yes, you are. We have elected and asked you to represent our community.
Yeah, that's probably because there's more things happening in breaking than hip hop and popping at the moment.
Yeah, I suppose so. And with things opening up again,
Yeah, I'll go back to talking about hip hop and popping as soon as as soon as that
when something happens, after tomorrow's event, basically.
True.
Yeah.
So have you ever been a B-boy?
Yeah.
You a B-boy?
Started breaking when I was like 13. So I got into it.
I guess everyone knows you as a DJ now.
Yeah, because I stopped breaking a while ago.
Yeah, I was going to ask you don't break anymore.
Not really, no.
Okay, fair enough. So that makes sense as to why you're doing the breaking DJing.
Yes.
How's that been going? I feel like from the outside, it looks like you're killing it. But obviously, as someone that also works in the creative industries, I know that the perception on the outside is not always the same.
Yeah, what you see online isn't true. Do you know what I mean? But
I mean, it's easy to be like, oh, you're at BC1, you must be at the height of your career. But it's like there may be more behind the scenes that it's like it's not killing it. But is it?
No, I feel good at my place right now, where I am. Obviously, we've had a lockdown for a very long time with no events. Nobody wants a DJ from the bedroom, you know what I'm saying? So lockdown's been.
You mean like
chill.
practice wise or just?
No, like in terms of work. In terms of work, but like practice wise, it's been there, digging for songs and all that stuff as well. But yeah, as soon as the restrictions lifted, it's been non-stop actually.
Yeah. Oh, sick. Oh, that's good to hear. Nice. And obviously BC1 last weekend.
Yeah, the UK side.
It's been a week. Yeah. How was that?
That was fun.
It wasn't your first time working with Red Bull though, was it?
That's my third time.
Okay.
Third time now. 3rd year in a row. It was really fun. It was the first event. So what's funny is the last event we had with no restrictions in the UK for breaking was Red Bull Cypher 2020.
Nice.
Which I think was one of like maybe 1 or 2 other Red Bull Cyphers to happen in the world before everything got locked off. And the first event back with no restrictions whatsoever has been Red Bull again, It's amazing what you can do with a budget.
All right. That's not by chance.
Sales are doing well,
Yeah.
But no, it was good. Like in terms of production and everything, it was superb. The best one we've had so far, I think.
Best BC1
UK Cypher I think we've had. And in terms of how it looks, it's better than many of the country Cyphers, 100%, I think.
How do you mean how it looks? Like just how it is
how the live stream looks and how the production, the value is, everything from introductions to running of the order and what you're presenting. Not in terms of level, because obviously level is different to place, but just
so you're
in
saying
terms
everyone
of,
in the UK shit. Continue.
Not my words, yeah.
I'm playing, guys.
But like we didn't have some regular people enter this cypher.
We did.
We didn't. like some people who have been like semi-finalists in the last couple of Cyphers weren't there this year.
Okay.
So it's been an interesting event to come back to, looking at the lineup and also looking at like who's actually been practicing, who's going to qualify, and you know, who's going to be the surprise of the day.
Yeah, sure.
But like the whole weekend was a vibe. It was just nice to be back in around people. You know?
It's Red Bull UK that run, like it's the Red Bull team in each place that run their shit, right? So absolutely. I would imagine that compared to maybe some other cities, the UK Red Bull events team is probably on their shit because it's London. You know what I mean? It's like we probably have a lot of events like the people that they hired are probably good because they're from London and they're events managers in London. You kind of have to be good, I guess, to work in a big city like this and have a job like that. And then the whole team is like probably in practice of running shit a lot. So it's like maybe I don't know where the other ciphers are, but
no, but that is definitely a big factor. But the other thing you have to remember is also who the local contacts are from the breaking team working with the local ciphers.
Who's the breaking people that are in contact with Red Bull?
Like for example, Hooch is the one in the UK that's working with the Red Bull team, and Hooch brings us all along to make the event happen, you know. So every country is not working, they're not just coming out of nowhere, these people who aren't part of the breaking team just because they're in the Red Bull. They're working with local communities and the people in their cities to actually host something. Because how's someone who's not into breaking gonna know who to hire as a judge?
Sure.
Do you know what
or
I mean?
even to how the setup works.
Exactly.
It's like if you ask me to
What's
set up
a battle, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like exactly. A fucking downhill mountain bike event. I'm like, I don't know, put him at the top of a hill and say go.
Like gravity do the work, right? Yeah.
How do we judge this?
So you know, Red Bull have the budgets, they have the contacts and the access to everything, but they're still working with local people, or people from the community at least, to be able to.
I feel like you can see that though, because there's not. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but a while ago there was quite a pushback on Red Bull being so in the breaking scene, and I feel like now it's calmed down a bit. Like from my perspective, which is admittedly not in the midst of the breaking scene, but I am in the scene. I feel like people have kind of like now they've been almost given a chance to prove themselves. It's like it's been a few years and it's like, oh, okay, like there's not so much bullshit happening. These events are pretty like that you're hiring the people. So I feel like it's maybe calmed down a bit and now everyone's pissed at the fucking Olympics.
Yeah, no. I think I get what you're saying. What I think changed is probably when Roxrite won the World BC1 finals.
Really? What year was that?
I don't know. Can't remember. A few years ago.
Okay.
But, you know, because look at every other previous winner has been someone with big moves, acrobatics, blow-ups, you know, really good stage presence as well. Then have someone like Roxrite win it, who's very detail-oriented. You know, his space is confined. He's not flying all over the stage. Yeah. But still won, you know, with some real breaking shit at an event like Red Bull BC1. That changed people's perceptions.
Of like, oh, you can be...
Like, you can be you know? And then you have people like, say, Uzi Rock, who've been on the World Finals, or, you know, some other creative people.
Menno's won it, right?
He's won it 3 times.
Menno won it, and who's the other? Like Victor. So these are maybe more people like Roxrite, Menno, and Victor. Maybe not the same as like I would assume
like a flying type person.
You like Lee Lua Jr. and these type of people who are dope, but also doing crazy shit. That
it's just different parts of the spectrum, isn't it? Right, like it's all still breaking, but it's like where are you personally on the spectrum of?
Yeah, and I think also for events and things like that to have support, it's kind of like you. It's not the same as like representation with like race and stuff like that, but in a way, like you want to see like, oh, it is possible for me to win. Because it's like, say someone like, I don't know, like Menno or someone like that. It's like, I can watch Menno as a dancer, but not a breaker and be like, like I could be Menno if I would, like, if I worked my ass off from 10 years ago and had like, obviously not the same shit, and the creativity is kind of unique to the person, but in terms of what he's doing, I'm like, oh, I could, like, there's that sense of like, that could maybe have been me one day in an alternate Marvel reality. You
like to see yourself in that sort of.
Yeah, in the sense of like the stuff, like when I watch Junior, I'm like, there's no way that would have ever been me. You know what I mean? Like, I could never do that in the whole, like, or that's at least the feeling I get. Look, obviously, if I worked out and I did fucking gymnastics and I could do some of the shit that Junior did. Like, I'm, you know, not I'm not challenged in.
He's calling you out, Junior.
Yeah. I'm really not. That would be the most boring battle in the world for anyone watching. It would just be like him doing solos, and then me wasting some time. No, but do you know what I mean? It's like you watch Junior and you're like, there's just that kind of inside feeling of like, that is so out of the realm, and that's what makes it amazing to watch. For me, is like, holy shit, like I want to watch Junior because I've never seen anything like that, and I could never do that.
It was like the first viral b-boy ever.
Yeah, yeah.
You know
And
what
I find the same with like some poppers and stuff, where it's like they do shit, and I'm like, fuck, like some of Salar's effects and stuff. Like, oh my god, that looks like otherworldly almost. And then you've got people who I'm comparing to Menno, and maybe people are going to cuss me out, and I'm wrong, but from my perspective, it's like Menno or even Victor. And Victor's like, I was talking to Sonny about him on the pod, but like even Victor's got some crazy shit. But Victor makes me feel like, especially as a dancer, like almost I could relate to that. Like, oh yeah, I see how that's possible with a bit of like strength and training, and you know what I mean? It's I understand how flares work even if I can't do them. So to do a few flares and then some footwork, I'm like, oh cool, yeah, like I get all this shit that you're doing.
You sound like you want to start breaking now, man.
Oh, bro, I would love to break it. I'm lazy as fuck.
I remember that one event in Coventry, 1, 2 freeze.
No, 100 to 1,000.
No, that's Sheffield. That was mine's event. I mean, in Coventry, event called 1, 2 freeze, and you know,
was I there?
Yeah, you were there one day randomly.
Okay.
And it was a breaking event. I've been playing breaks all day, and then like towards the end of the day, I don't know. It was me and Silence DJing, and I can't remember. I think we just put on like a popping beat or something, and you just ran over and like, yo, thanks, and you just like going off.
I know the one.
Yeah,
it was just a straight b-boy event.
Yeah.
Oh
small
my God,
one in the
why
museum.
Was I there?
But I just remember like you telling me like, bro, leave the sun. I've been popping the breaks all day.
Yeah, I remember. Oh, bro, I remember that event. I don't know why the fuck I was there. Because like I'm sure I was there for someone else, or I mean, it could have been a girl. This is usually why I end up in a lot of places where I end up. But yeah, that's true. Yeah. I have to say on that, I haven't always been the biggest fan of breaking music.
Yeah, fair enough.
When I've been to battles,
breakers say the same shit about popping music.
Oh yeah, and sometimes rightfully so. Like I think this is the thing.
It's just a drowned out loop for like 5 minutes sometimes, you know.
Yeah, and some
and
of
the same in breaking, we have drowned out loops of 5 minutes as well.
And so, I mean, for me, it's just some of the songs are trash, but they hold like cultural significance, or they have a certain rhythm or tempo, or they have a certain snare or effects that you can hit that are blah blah blah. You know. So I definitely get, and I think especially as time moves on, like some of the stuff that I used to pop to in like 2007 is now like, if you played it in a bar, it would be fucking dead, you know?
Same with some breaking songs, man.
Yeah.
Every song has its time and place, and some songs are timeless, you know?
Sure. So this is the thing, right? So this is what I was going to say is that I really enjoyed the music at BC1. I watched it on the live stream because I had Corona. It was not a fun week. Yeah. You're such a prick. I'm allowed out legally now. All right, guys. No, but I did have. I was in the second half of my Corona quarantine, so I watched on the live stream. But I really like the music. What's the so talk to me about that, because I get that with popping, I get that with hip hop. Breaking's a little bit more alien to me. I've always, my whole dance career, let's say, like I've heard breaking because the first place where we used to train was ran by a b-boy. So.
What, in Watford?
Yeah, in Watford. Don't start, mate. Don't fucking start. We have an underground station, all right? He always cusses me because he says I'm not from London. We have an underground station. And I was thinking about this before I got here because I was like, I know you're going to fucking cuss me about this on the pod. And I had a response ready. I've lived in London longer than I ever lived in Watford at this point in my life. So...
Where's your birth certificate from?
Harrow. Northwest London, baby.
Okay, you can claim it. You know, people will be claiming them Irish passports since Brexit. You know, you can claim London, yeah?
I lived in Harrow until I was like 1 or 2, moved to New York, came back from New York when I was 8, stayed there for 10 years in Watford until I was 18, and I moved out and lived in London.
Wow.
So, and I'm 32 almost.
Damn.
So, more time out of London than in, out of Watford than in. And Watford it's not technically London, all right? It's not technically London.
It's not.
But we have an underground.
But yo, Watford's got some good music history, man, especially with dubstep and stuff.
Does it?
Yeah, Croydon, Watford area, down the south.
No, but Watford's up. Wait, where are you thinking?
I'm thinking just southern England, like in that area. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I've heard of some dope DJs coming out of there as well.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. I'll take that. What were we even talking about?
Red Bull music, breaking, alien.
Yeah. So I've always listened to breaking music, and I understand a bit about like the history and obviously like the break beat type of music and why that is so culturally relevant. Well, my first question is that type of music still being made today outside of breaking battle producers? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I can
Where?
say that with 100% certainty because the last 3 nights I've spent digging, going through almost 500 albums in my
Where
wish
and what
list.
for? What type of music is it?
It's funk music, man.
Okay.
It's funk music. It can be rock music, soul music, anything with a break in there, you know? A break that's, you know, got the right tempo, also the right sort of drum and music structure, like 4x4 music, basically, you know? You
Is
don't
it
want-
still structurally? Is it still a break in the music?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, 100%, you know? It's definitely less popular, you know, but it's still definitely being made by a lot of independent bands from like Australia. Australian funk is mad though.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so many bands from Australia whose breaks get played around the world, you know? So many bands, even like London bands, for example. So there's still being like music being made that's used for breaking, but it just also depends on what kind of event it is, because you know Red Bull's a live stream event. You know, some
I was
other
going to ask you
events,
about this. How difficult that was.
Because
You can't
not anymore.
What we're referring to is the copyright and the
Yeah.
music streaming rights and all that. Like, there's
Exactly.
a lot of shit you can't play.
Yeah,
Right.
and a lot of people aren't even aware of it. You know, they just assume like, oh, why is everyone playing the same music at these events? Blah blah blah. Look, it's because of the type of event it is. You know, we're limited in some ways. It also depends on the country you're in.
Right. But is because the BC One UK was streamed all around the world.
Yeah, it was streamed online on Facebook and YouTube
So how does that work with rights? Because if it's UK rights, but you're watching it in France,
because it's Red Bull music.
what does that mean?
All that music that I played at Red Bull BC One.
Sorry, but I mean like because you said in different countries. So if it's like if you did an online streaming event in London, but you viewed it in another country, where does the streaming rights apply? Would it stop it in their country?
No. So then that can be covered by some things like online PRS licenses, for example. So you can get temporary licenses and special types of licenses or specific ones, and they have a whole list of countries that they're allowed to be in, and there's some countries that they're not allowed to be in. So your music or your streams might not be allowed to go to those countries, but
Got ya.
there's more countries allowed than there aren't.
But you can still run it. It just won't be played in their country.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Got
it
ya.
might not be accessible without a VPN, for example,
Got
or
ya.
after the fact. You know, not live stream necessarily.
Sure. So for BC One UK, you did what we said about Red Bull Music.
It's a Red Bull. It's a Red Bull library. So Red Bull, almost every year, I think, they go out on a shopping spree, buy loads of music from DJs and producers and whoever is
Not just for
contributing.
this breaking thing, but everything that they do.
They have hip hop and pop in as well now.
But as in, like, not just for dance battles. Like, it could be for
Everything.
anything.
Yeah, there's
It's just
on the
a Red
library. They
Bull-
got rock music, indie music,
Yeah.
every type of
Right.
music on there. You know, which is, in my opinion, smart business if you think about it, because live streaming costs, copyright costs. You know, if you get strikes on your content as well,
Yeah.
you're losing monetary views
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that. So it does make sense from a business perspective to have your own music. You
Yeah.
know, there's pros and cons to everything, though.
Sure.
You know, the pros is you're creating jobs, you're making new music, you're getting people's contributions from the scene
Mm-hmm.
to be part of a bigger event. And the cons can be like, not all of it is good sometimes. It may be repetitive because everyone wants to play the bangers. So,
So, and all the DJs that are playing at Red Bull events are pulling from the same library.
yes.
Got
The Red
ya.
Bull library, yeah.
So, so everyone basically that DJs for the event in preparation for that will go onto their online library and dig through all the songs and find all the songs from there.
Yeah.
Approximately how many songs are we thinking?
I remember in the first year of playing the UK Cypher when it came back, it was roughly like 700 to 800 tracks, specifically in the breaking categories.
Okay, so they already break it up for you in like.
Yeah, they have it. You can search by genre,
Right.
vibe, mood,
You
instrument.
think there's about 800 songs?
Yeah, I remember going through about 700 to 800 songs out of those. And out of those, I liked or what suited my style of DJing about 160, 150. And then out of those, you're only playing about 46 songs
How do you break that down?
because it's top 16 B-boys, 2 rounds each, 3 rounds in the final, top 8 B-girls.
Cool.
16 means 15 battles, 8 means 7 battles.
Yep.
That's 22 battles, 2 rounds each, 44, plus an extra round in the final, 46.
Cool. And
Plus
what,
judges showcases.
and what if it goes to tie? Do they do that?
Yeah,
They
then it's, yeah, we have,
they have extra
yeah, we had,
tiebreaker
yeah.
songs. So how many you have in the tank for tiebreakers?
I'll have a folder for tiebreaker songs, just in case. Never more than like 5 to 10 songs. You don't need. Those.
Yeah, I mean,
we don't
unless-
get that many tiebreakers anyway.
Sure.
You know.
And it's like rare. It's gonna be every single battle.
Yeah, exactly. It does make sense to get a tie in a 2-round battle. You know, if you're going round for round and you think this person won
Yeah.
that round and the other one, logically you're gonna give a tie, aren't you?
Sure.
Unless you're looking at the whole battle overall, but then that's not round for round judging.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay. So, and how are you structuring this? So I always wondered this about battle DJs, because I was just thinking how I would do it. But like, do you know these are the songs I'm playing for the quarterfinals, or do you like look at the battle as it comes up? Like, oh, it's this person versus this person. This is going to be hype. Let me play this one.
I have like one of three ways I might approach it. So the older me would have just straight up freestyled, you know.
Just you have all the 46 songs and just pick one.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
But like, it's not like I'm going through the 700 folder.
Sure.
I've got my 100 songs picked.
Yeah.
And then I might separate those into openers and closers.
Okay.
Because it's, 2-round battle. Something to open the battle with, with a little intro, maybe a little atmosphere building or whatever, depending on the stage of the competition.
Yeah.
Because later on, it might just be about get started, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Straight into the break. But yeah, so either freestyle from a selection, depending on who's in front of me. Another approach I've taken is to theme my rounds. So like top 16 battles is 8 battles. So then I have like one battle that's a bit more hip hoppy, one that's a bit more breaky, one that's a bit more like new age, one that's more classical. So
okay.
so then I might think, okay, who have I got in front of me? Oh, I've got some young cats. Let me give them some new shit. I've got some older guys, or I've got some dudes who appreciate a bit more slower music or a bit more groove. Then I can pick from that.
Okay.
And the third one, like I did for last weekend, was straight up prepare for each round, for each battle.
Literally in terms of, okay, so these are the let's say
First battle, first song, second song.
Battles.
Exactly. So
and you don't know who
song.
you're gonna have in those battles.
No, but whatever number there is, the number of folders they're gonna get. Because I haven't themed it, that's why. So if I themed it, then I could pick for who's in front of me. But if I haven't themed it, because most of the library that I picked is gonna be similar anyway. Nothing standoutish, like one extreme end of the breaking music to another extreme end. It's all sort of, it makes sense to all play it together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like any dancer could dance on any other song, and any song could be played next to any other song.
Exactly.
And it kind of all works.
It will all work because that's my style, and I'm picking songs from the library that suit my way of playing.
What in terms of structurally, you mean, or sonically?
Sonically.
So how would you describe your style sonically?
Boom, bap, and breaks.
Ah, see how you plug that. Don't wink at me. Don't wink at me while I'm drinking. I'll kiss you right now. I won't, guys. I won't.
He had the Rona.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, that too.
Just so you know, I'm eating all these sweet chili nuts here, by the way.
That's all right, man. That's what they're here for.
Sweet.
All the other guests are like, I didn't get no fucking snacks. Okay, so with the this structuring and having the folders and freestyling and blah blah blah, because also let's say for the BC1 cipher specifically, because we're on that anyway, we being the public got the how do you call that, brackets the night before.
Yeah.
So I can imagine it could be tempting to go, I know, especially if you're in the scene and you know the scene and you know the B-boys, be like, I know he's going to kill this and he's going to kill this and he's going to kill this, and kind of do a little switch around. Not for the sake of, and I'm going to get onto that in a second, but not for the sake of like giving anyone an advantage, but I guess because if the dancers love the track that they're given, you're going to look good. And if they go off and kill the track that that they're given, you're also going to look good. So it might be tempting, and I can, maybe not you, but maybe other lesser DJs might be tempted to do something like that, where it's
no, the good DJs will do that.
They will do that.
Yeah.
That is not what I was expecting you to say.
They will do that because like our job as a DJ isn't to be the limelight. It's to bring out the best in the dancer. That's my job. My job is to play dope shit and make sure you fuck with it.
So you, like, for example, like, oh, I know LB will fuck up this track. Like, I'm going to play him for him.
So I might not do that with a specific song.
Right.
But I might have...
The vibe.
The vibe would work. You know, I'm like, oh yeah, cool. You know what? I've got this battle of like 2 crazy blow-up cats. All right, I'm going to play this right here because, you know, one, it might... Not to say that it'll be easier for them, but it will make them look better. And also at the same time, if I'm playing something else that isn't their vibe necessarily, I'm still going to cut and juggle in a way that makes them better. But that also depends on how good the dancer is. When you have a good dancer in front of you, it makes my job easier. and it made my job easier to make you look better. Because I know you're going to listen to the music, you're going to listen to my phrasing, to listen to the accents, and when I'm going to do the pullbacks and the spin backs, or when I'm going to do the juggles and cuts and stuff. And a good dancer knows timing. So the last move that you do is always going to be on the accent if you're well timed, if you're aware of your own movement. So you know every 8 counts or 16 counts is a big accent, or I'm scratching or juggling.
Yeah.
You know, if a good dancer will be able to pick up on that and adapt. You know?
Yeah, sure.
It makes my job easier. He looks or she looks better. The DJ's killed it as well. The crowd's crazy. Like, it's a win-win-win, you know?
Because I feel like that is, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, that's a good percentage of, like, let's say, break-in battle beat kills, is those moments where the DJ's scratching or doing something.
Well, the beat kills, as much as that, not controversial, but as, you know, touchy that word can be for someone in the breaking scene or the
I mean,
DJs.
I hate it in hip-hop as well.
Exactly. You know what I mean? For me, like, real beat kills is phrasing.
Sure, but I'm talking more from an audience perspective.
Yeah, and
of like you hitting something and the audience.
But then,
going
you
mad.
know, those audience moments that you might be referring to is just that one hit at the
Sure.
very end of their set.
Yeah.
You know, they're just in a speedy run or something, and then one move at the end that's just killed it. But that was just one thing you just did at a whole round. You know, what if someone else comes out against you and they're doing a beat kill every 8 counts, every 16 counts?
Yeah, and I think that's what's lost in hip hop at the moment.
Is it? Yeah. Do
for
you mean
me,
culture or the dance style?
This is where I'll speak boldly, because call me out if you want.
Call him out. Call him out.
Breaking, please don't call me out. Hip hop, I still got a few rounds in the tank. You might still win. Don't get me wrong. I'll just accept the call out. No, but like I think in hip hop specifically, I think popping still has it. But I think it's that the phrasing and all those type of things, it's not really celebrated or paid attention to by a lot of people.
That's interesting, because from an outside perspective, hip hop and popping and house dance, like for us, it's all about pacing. That's how I see it, you know, and engaging with the music. You know?
Popping in house dances.
You know what I mean? And hip hop as well, we thought it's about engaging with the music, but you're telling me it's not so much now. And
I mean, all right, I was trying to speak as fairly as possible, even though I know I have my biases. I'm being very biased towards this section of the scene that I don't like. Or not even that I don't like, because I think they're dope.
it's just not your thing. You know?
It's not even that it's not my thing. It's just not how I got introduced to hip hop. And I feel myself being a fucking old man.
Yeah, I was going to say, you sound like an old man.
Yeah, but I'm trying to be aware of it so that
Yeah, even I've had that with like what I'm playing for younger people. You know? Like hip hop, like every 5 years is a whole new generation. It feels like, and
it's
whole new
moving
breed of
quick.
people and music as well. You know,
I think hip hop for me is the most changing style, like since I've been in the scene. Like, admittedly, it's my 15th year, so it's been a while. But there's also people that have been in the scene a lot longer.
Yeah.
In my 14, 15 years, hip hop has changed drastically. Popping, like, if you look at the difference, like, who's the like top popper now? Like, probably still Green Tech, or I don't know. Like, if you look at someone like of the now, let's say, compared to someone like who was the top when I started, which
probably
was
like Salah back then.
Salah, Jadawi, Pepito, Iron Mike, Sally Sly. These were the people, like Damon. These were the people that I was like, oh, these are the top guys. Now, I guess like Green Tech, Nelson, Hoan, these type of thing. The difference, obviously, style-wise is different, but it's not a drastically different style, I don't find.
Does it feel like a different culture? Because breaking feels like a different culture now, you know?
Also, again, I have to be honest about my biases. Like, I wasn't traveling in 2007. It was like not till like 2010 I traveled more between then and now I'm like, I have a different understanding of the dance. So it's like, it's hard to compare equally from then until now.
Yeah.
I'm a lot older and I've studied this shit for a lot longer now. So obviously I'm going to see different shit, you know what I mean? But I think if you look at, let's say, even like Just Taboo finals, right? If you look at like when it was like Niako and I think P-Fly was his partner in like 2005, and even like Deadson, people like that era of hip hop compared to the like winners of, like, let's say Just Taboo or Summer Dance or something now, for me it might not be completely different, but it's the biggest change.
Yeah.
In style wise, in terms of what the style looks like, I think.
Yeah.
So
even like something like Crumpin has changed so much in the last 10 years.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, that's quite a big. But also that's That's the thing that's weird. Is like I guess hip hop's new as well, but crump is like a new style, so you kind of expect
Crump is much younger than hip hop for sure.
Yeah,
you know?
and you
much
kind of
younger.
expect it to grow. Whereas I think the way when I say culture in terms of like the contemporary culture of battle scenes, we put hip hop in the same realm as popping, house, breaking, locking. But it's really not. It's a little bit like younger.
Mate, everything, even if you look at the oldest thing in hip hop, which might be like breaking or rocking or whatever, you know, or social dancing, whatever you want to go with, depends who you ask. Like, it's all still like 50 years old. Hip hop had its birthday like yesterday.
Yeah.
How old is it? Like 40 something now?
40, I forget.
Do you know what I mean? Like, still a baby. Still a baby. There's so much more to come, and
Yeah.
you know, like I'm expecting changes every 5 years, and hip hop in its nature is contemporary. You know, like it's meant to be evolving.
I think, yeah, and I think for the style, battle-wise, I think there's a few reasons why it's like...
Music is definitely a big factor, you know?
Yeah, and I think
music
that's
has
one of them.
influenced the style in breaking, and I'm sure in the other genres as well. Of street
But
dance.
in terms of the music, right? Popping, electro funk, that type of music, break beats, house music, even crump music, which is its like own thing. Locking, like they're not really making that music as much anymore, I would say. Hip hop is like by far the biggest music of all the battle styles. Like it's
even outside of battles,
it's the
hip-hop
biggest
is-
music in the world.
Yeah, it is. It's number one.
So this is the thing where it's like no other style has had its music grow so big and split into so many factions. Like if you look at hip hop now, we could say we're listening to hip hop, we're listening to rap or whatever, but it's like if it's fucking Lil Uzi Vert, if it's like Slum Village, if it's Joey Badass, if it's Mac Miller, like this like fucking Little Baby, like there's so many different versions of what hip hop is. So
Yeah.
naturally, and I think this is kind of obvious that all the dance styles grow from the music. So I think whereas poppy music has changed, but not as drastically as like going from fucking like, I don't know, De La Soul or something, or like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say.
to
yeah.
now, like look at the difference, not only in the type of music.
We're playing popper music and breaking battles today. Do you know, like it's
Are
gotten
you?
to that point. Yeah, the loops and some of the breaks that some of these people are playing, you
Mm.
know, in the beats that they've made themselves, just sounds like popping music to me. That's just been sped up, you know, or hip hop battle music that's been sped up as well.
Mm.
And even in breaking battles, a lot of hip hop crossover is happening now. You know, in the last sort of years, you've noticed, I'm sure, breaking battles will have hip hop battle
Sure.
music as well. You know.
More than hip hop battles.
Sometimes, yeah. The amount of times I've been at an event and like poppers and hip hoppers have asked me to play for their battles, like their
Yeah.
categories. I'm only there for the breaking, but like, yo, I wish you're asking a breaking DJ to play for popping battles. That's saying something for. Do you know
It's
what I mean?
changed, man. It's different music. Cause like I was thinking about like the shit that we used to dance to. Like when I started battling, one of the biggest battle tunes, like the final tunes, was Royce da 5'9" Boom
For hip hop battles, yeah.
for hip hop battles.
Yeah.
That was like a finals track,
Now it's a chill track.
bro. It's not even like if you played that in a hip hop battle now, people would be like, "The fuck is going on?" Like
Yeah.
it.
Even I wouldn't play it for a hip hop battle though.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? Again, every song has this time and place.
Yeah, and not to say that it isn't dated and like maybe I'd be one of the people going, what the fuck? But it's a completely different type of music that we're playing in hip hop battles now. It's like mostly like produced for hip hop.
Yeah.
Like there's so, and this is the thing that gets me, man. Like there's so many, I mean, also it goes into the copyright things, and I'll talk about that in a minute anyway. But like there's so many good tracks that when I was first dancing would have been battle tracks, but now they're not played at all. And it's like these YouTube or SoundCloud kids that are like, so they made it, you know, there's some of them that are actually fucking good, but like people that make beats in their bedroom and stuff, that's what's the staple of hip hop battle music now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're
like
saying.
it's not music, it's not in a disrespectful way that it's not music, but it's not like music that's made first and foremost for people listening to. It's made first and foremost for battles.
That's the thing. Like, if you look at every song in all the street dance styles that we dance to, or what we call classics or foundation, or even up until, you know, like not 5 years, but before 5 years ago, like that's all stuff that wasn't made for battles. It's just good music.
Yeah.
And we fuck with it. That's it, you know? And now we have this specifically catered and made for music and beat kills and all this stuff. Like, all the people that are trying to do it, you know, like they don't play instruments. That's one reason why I haven't produced breaks.
Yeah.
I haven't started to produce breaks because
also...
I don't know how to play drums. How am I going to make a break if I don't understand drums? Like I have the ear for everything now because of my DJing experience. But when it comes to actually sitting down and produce it, unless I sample drums and breaks, I can't program my own drums in because I don't have that awareness of the knowledge of everything, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm in no rush to produce. I'm doing well with DJing. So imagine when I do start producing.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like that's going to be the next step. And production is a natural evolution for every DJ. In its nature, like if you look at what DJs do, when you cut a juggle or break up, you're remixing a song.
Got ya. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've changed the song. Like that's what producing is. That's what rap started on. It was looped breaks, you know? Like, what is it? Sugar Hill Gang, Rapper's Delight, Chic, Good Times break. Just on a loop.
But it's almost more intrinsic to breaking than it is in any other style.
Well, yeah, because by its nature, you know, that's why.
Pop-in, house, and hip-hop. Okay, let's take pop-in out of that. House and hip-hop were born in the clubs.
Yes.
So as much as, yes, there was DJs there, the DJs were not there like, hey, I'm going to fucking make this shit for the dancers or for the cyphers. It's for the club to go off, for you to like talk to girls, whatever. So you get, I think that's maybe why like house is the way it is and why hip-hop was the way it was when I started, is like it was it's intrinsic to the style to dance to music that was already there.
It comes from, there's a social dance element to it. That's why, you know, I think anyway.
But breakers, this is what I mean, like with it being intrinsic, is like breaking as a dance style, again, correct me if I'm wrong with all of this, but like breaking as a dance style began because the DJs were fucking with tracks.
No,
okay, go on.
They just began because there was breaks in songs. So,
but which came first, the chicken or the egg? But which came first? Is it like that the DJs were looping the breaks for the breakers, or the breakers were dancing to the breaks so that DJ looped it?
The latter. So, like, what happened?
So it was a catalyst.
The loop was second. Like, if you look at, this is all on YouTube as well. If you just search DJ Kool Herc, for example. Cool. So, like, before, you'd be at a party, a block party in, you know, New York somewhere.
Yeah.
And whenever a song came on, people are dancing as always. And whenever there's a break in a song, B-boys and B-girls would be getting down to that. Just for the length of that break. The break finished and they went back to the song. They'd get up and go back to, you know, whatever they was doing before.
Okay.
And then Kool Herc comes along and his parties, who we labeled and given the title of Godfather of Hip Hop, you know. He goes what he calls the merry-go-round. So he goes from one break to another break of a different song to another break of a different song. And then eventually people went to looping the same break on both sides. And that's like, if you look at how hip-hop sort of evolved, rapping or MCing, DJing and breaking, you know, had its sort of evolution together, because at the parties, the MC's job would be to hype the crowd up, get engagement, right? You know, the hey ho, put your hands in the air, whatever you want, whatever they used to do, you know. And then when the DJ started looping the breaks for longer, the MCs would have to rap for longer. And when the DJ started looping the breaks for longer, the breakers would break for longer. So like that sort of, you know, all came hand in hand. You know, it wasn't like one thing and then another thing. It was all happening together at the same time. And then now we're at the stage today.
You know what's annoying is because I can't help but like prove myself wrong, in the sense that like, okay, that's what happened with breaking, but maybe that's what's happening with hip hop now, where we used to dance to tracks that were like commercially produced, and the dancers used to try and go off on the bits that had beat, because there used to be songs that had these like intricate breakdowns,
little riffs or whatever, you know,
and little double up of the snare here and there, and when people used to hit that, it would go off. So now people are producing tracks that are solely
just constant hits, you know,
that, which a lot of us don't like, but maybe they're doing the same thing that breaking DJs did back in the day. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, this is the part that gets the dancers going, let's make that a whole track of that. I mean, there's elements where I feel like people are shit at it, and they're just, like you said, they don't play instruments, they don't understand music, but there are some good fucking beat makers.
Listen, all it takes is just one dancer to dance really well to a song, no matter how shit it is, to change everyone's mind. The amount of times I've listened to a song and I hated it, but then I just seen a dope choreo. I'm like, you know, I like this song now. You know what I mean?
True.
So that's all it is sometimes, you know? And then that over and over and over again. And, you know, now we're more of a competition era. The last few years have been all about competitions. You know, the jams are far and fewer. The underground events are far and fewer now. And no one's going to come to your event unless there is a competitive element, you know? Like, that's how it feels, and that's how the majority are. You can throw cypher events. I've done it. Bare cypher events, bro. People don't come to those.
To be honest, that's how I am. I don't think I would be as inclined to go to a cypher event.
No, exactly, because it's like, I don't know, it's just a different time now, you know.
I think, yeah, and I think like
there's still enough of those happening, and there's still enough people that will go to those events.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, the focus is more on competitions these days.
100%.
You know, the limelight is more on competition.
And I find it. I mean, I don't know what your view on that is, but like, I find it hard to cast that because I'm a child of that mentality. Like when I started, I wasn't like, oh, guys, like I wasn't even fucking old enough to go. This is the one thing, is like the whole age range of hip hop dancers has dropped. So. When I started, I was like, let's say 17 going on 18. So I couldn't really go to parties or clubs.
Yeah.
And I could when I turned 18, but like, I wasn't like out in a club and then I saw people ciphering, right? Like this is just, and this is the thing where I feel like it's like, anyway, you can tell me your views on the idea of culture changing and us holding on to stuff, seeing as we're both old men now. But like, when I started, right, it was like, I wasn't in a club. I wasn't going out partying and doing these social dances. I met my friend. First of all, I was showing off at parties. That was the first thing, trying to get girls. So that element's in there, but it wasn't social dancing. I was just trying to do cool waves so that the girls would like me, because other people did.
And then B-boys do windmills and flips in clubs, man.
Exactly. I'm sure a lot of B-boys, the same way we learned to wave or do the robot, I'm sure a lot of B-boys started by learning to do a backflip, and girls liked it. So they were like, what else can I do? And then next thing you know, you're a fucking breaker. But like,
no one gets into breaking for the culture,
bro.
Like, no one gets into like, oh, I love this culture. No, you get in because you see something cool and you want to do it,
bro.
And then you get into the culture, you know.
And the first thing is like, I met some friends that actually dance. I went to a dance class.
That actually danced.
No, because like, I was just doing fucking waves in a party and I was shit. And then my friends that I was actually hanging around with, all that shit, introduced me to Lee and Mus, who dance and used to train back in the days when it was like
about your celebrity friend
Mus. Yeah, that guy. He isn't really doing that lifestyle anymore. Don't know how much to talk about that. I'll tell you off the pod, but he's not so much doing that lifestyle as much. I mean, it's public. He moved to Egypt.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he put that on Instagram, so it's fine. I can talk about it. But yeah, he's teaching dance out there and loving it, I think.
Man, I want to see him dance more, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he's getting back into it. Shout
That's
out
good.
to Mus, man. Like, he's really, like, he's teaching these classes and it's, like, a smaller community there and he's really building and, like, getting some students.
That's inspiring.
Yeah, man. Like, and I think he loves doing that. Like, he's, like, fucking 6 years younger than me and he was, like, something like that. And he was, like, my first teacher.
Hey.
No, maybe not 6, maybe, like, 4 years younger than me. But anyway, so they introduced me to those two. And the first experience I had of real dance was, Just Taboo DVDs.
Wow.
And I think it was Just Taboo 2005 and fucking, how am I forgetting the name of our UK Champs? UK Champs Pop-In Battle DVDs. This was like the first introduction to hip hop, like dance culture.
Yeah.
Was like watching Jadawi and Slim Boogie battle and being like, those guys are fucking cool. And watching like Salah and Iron Mike and all these guys in some basketball court in Paris. And I'm like, this shit's fucking cool. So I find it hard to kind of be like, oh no, we have to hold on to that thing. Because I know that's part of hip hop history, but it's not part of my history. Like when I went to clubs, I was not in the hip hop scene.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was going for other stuff. Like the only time I danced was at battles. I don't dance when I go to clubs. Ever. Because then you get people like, oh, you do a fucking wave. And it's like, yeah, I can
spin on your head, mate. You know?
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm just here to talk to that girl over there. Like, I'm really not here to like.
If she asked me to do it, I will.
Oh yeah, there have been many a cipher round pulled out in the middle of a club just for a hot girl. But yeah, like I don't know, man. Like with this whole idea of like let's say like the history of hip hop, kind of juxtaposed with our own history as we grow up. Like, for example, what I was saying about the age ranges, like if you've got a 15-year-old now that wants to dance in the battle scene, it's like you can't tell him, oh, you should be at parties and you should be learning. It's like he doesn't know shit about parties, social dances, all girls really. Like he doesn't know anything about that, or like going to clubs for like that type of vibe or wanting to meet people. Like it's not anything. So the only his whole life might be fucking Fortnite. So he's like a competitor by nature and he loves like fucking people up, and that's his, like, this 15-year-old hypothetical kid is like, that's his thing. So it's hard for him to be like, oh,
no. But what I find, and I'm sure it's the same in all the other disciplines in breaking as well, is that people mature over time.
Yeah.
You get into the whole phase of, there's different stereotypes of phases, like 90s rap is the only rap I listen to, is the best hip hop. You have that phase. You have the phase of like breaking and training every day, and you don't care about injuries and you push through. And then eventually get to the phase of like, I'm appreciating the culture more. I'm enjoying the socialness of it more. Like, you go to an event on the weekend, how much time are you spending dancing compared to how much time you're there? As you get older, you start appreciating the time you're not dancing more. The people in the scene, the friends you've made, the social side and the culture side. And then you appreciate these other things and, whatever. But, it's all phases. And I think people spend 10 years in the culture, and then I think everyone's pretty much on the same wavelength,
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, yes and no. Like, I think the only time I see people not on the same wavelength is maybe this, like, idea of, there's too many competitions. Like, where do you stand on that?
What? On that phrase? Too many competitions?
Like, we need to have less competitions. We need to have more jams and community things and parties.
Fucking throw one, mate. That's what I say to that, Throw one, hire me, I'll be there.
But you've done it, and you said a lot of people didn't come. So how do you feel as that guy?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah?
You
just like, it is what it is?
It is what it is, man. Like, it's just that simple. You can fight it, or you can adapt, or you can keep going. And I'm sure if I kept going and did like only cypher events a little bit, I mean, it wasn't even just me, it was a couple of us doing it. And it was just like, we did a few of them, and we saw the attendance get lower and lower with each one, because people just don't like the idea of paying to travel to go cypher. But like, it's fair enough. That's cool, man. But let me throw a competition and everyone shows up, But then now I've flipped it. So now my competition that I do, whenever I do it again, is it's done with a club approach.
Sure.
So I have a music policy in my breaking event, which is boom bap and breaks, nothing too fast, no classic funk, nothing like that, or rap or instrumentals and stuff like that. So if you don't like the music, don't come to my event. Whereas now people go to events and competitions and they don't care who's DJing. They might look at the judges, or they might not look at the judges. It's one or the other, but really they don't care about the music as much. Majority of the kids I'm talking about, and they're going for the competition. But then there's no atmosphere, there's no vibe. You're there strictly to compete.
Yeah.
You come to an event where there's a music policy in place, and you're going specifically because you enjoy that music. There's automatically an atmosphere and a vibe in its nature from the get-go. So the competition ends up feeling like a bonus, and it's always hype because the music is there to engage with. You know? So that's one thing as well. Like, there's an interesting conversation I was having last weekend at Red Bull, which is how people look on live stream, how the event looks on live streams. When you're there in person, it feels amazing. The vibe is there, but the camera doesn't translate everything, does it?
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, how do you make it look better on live stream, blah, blah, blah.
From an events perspective.
Yeah, from an events organizer's perspective. And really it comes down to, people engaging with the music more, So, the more music people are familiar with, the more they're going to get hype, right? Like, I'm talking about general Joe public as well. Like if you're there just watching breaking battles or hip hop battles, if you know the song and there's some dope dancing going on, you're going to love it. You're going to vibe out. But if you're just there watching the dancing and you're not paying attention to the music because you don't know it or you don't relate to it, then it's going to look like you're not enjoying it. But you are in the moment. Yeah. It just on camera might not translate. You know what I mean?
So you're saying if the dancers in the video are enjoying the music, it translates better?
The crowd.
Got ya. Right. Because they're not just standing there looking.
The dancers have to dance. They're in a competition. They have no choice.
Got ya. I thought you meant the people watching if they enjoy the music.
No. I mean the people in the show watching.
Right. That will make the visuals better.
Yeah.
I understand.
And don't get me wrong. They are enjoying themselves, but there's different ways to express joy.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just appreciate what's in front of you.
And we're British as well. It's not in our nature to be loud and
noisy
arms
and
up. It just doesn't. This is what pisses. I've spoken about this before, I'm sure, but I'm gonna speak about it again. This is what pisses me off about hosts, right? And not to say that Swifty did this because I don't think he did.
Swifty.
But I hate when it's like you. I hate when hosts try and force the audience to like react. It's like, yo, come on, guys, make some noise. And it's like, no, I don't want to fucking make some noise. Like, your job is to make me make noise, dancers and a host. It's not for me to do that for you. That's not how it works, right? If I go to a rap concert, it's not my job to hype up Busta Rhymes. It's Busta Rhymes' job to hype me up. That's why we praise rappers that have good stage and touring shows as well as good records, right? Because it's not easy and not everyone can do it. They were talking about DMX.
It's not the same job either,
Exactly.
Rapping and performing, dancing and teaching.
Exactly.
All different things.
Also, they were talking about DMX with that, where I can't remember who had to go on after him and they were talking about like
Jay-Z.
Was it Jay-Z?
Jay-Z.
Where was that interview?
It was a recent interview. I saw a clip of it actually.
And he was saying that like he like prayed at the end and got...
everyone's crying.
Yeah. I think it was Jay. You're right. Like,
it was Jay. Yeah.
Yeah, saying that he didn't want to follow DMX because he had such a good stage show, and it's like, right. So this is why we praise rappers like that, because it's not second nature, and because it's not the audience's job to be hype. It's a rapper's skill set or a performer's skill set that brings out the hype in an audience. Now, same applies to events. I will be hype if I'm well fed, if I've had a drink, if the vibes are good, if the music is good, if I haven't been there for 17 hours, and if the dancers are good. Yeah. If the dancers are shit, especially me being, and this is the other thing, is like it depends who you cater to, because let's say this hypothetical event that I'm talking about, right? You've catered it to only dancers. So this event is, I could never bring my mum because she's going to be like, what the fuck is this shit?
I'm watching 500 dancers.
And why is there a 4-hour break? Like, do you know what I mean? And why does it stink of weed in here? Like, I can't bring random normal people that aren't dancers. So it's for me, right? If it's for me, I know that your finalists are shit. So you've got like 2 shit people who I might be better than in the finals, and you want me to go crazy. I'm like, I just came from like seeing some of the best people. I just trained with like some of the best people in the country, let alone the world. Like these 2 don't excite me. So for me to make noise...
But then why are you at that event?
Well, yeah, that's another question. But
You know what I mean?
Does it mean I shouldn't be at that event?
No, it just means like, spend your money wisely and support more things that are in tune with your values or what you want.
Agreed, but then you can't, if I do choose to go to your event, which is what you've wanted because you cater it to dancers, you can't blame me for not being a hype audience.
No, but I can blame you for coming to an event, not enjoying yourself, and blaming the event.
Agreed. I'm with you on that. I think and that's the thing, I wouldn't bitch about an event like that, because that's like fucking every other event I go to is like, meh, like, it's all right. Like, there's no, it
just feels like routine most of the time now.
It feels like routine, and to be honest, it's not the dancers that I love. It's the culture and the I love doing this. I love going to events. I love watching shit. Like, was there anything at BC One even though I was on the live stream? Was there anything that I've never seen in my life before? No. Did I love watching the live stream and tuning in? Yes, 100%. Like, I love this, and I don't like to say culture because it's different, like the hip hop culture as opposed to what we do culturally, but it is a culture, the battle scene.
Hip hop dance culture.
I love the hip hop dance culture. I love the battle scene. I love being in it. I love going around 100%. To these events.
I love the UK scene, man.
But
I love it so much.
There's a difference between me being at an event and being like, I fucking love this shit. But am I going to stand up and scream and put my hands in the air? Probably not, because these dancers are not of that level. And
but you're a dancer. What if you're a General Joe public? Like, what would you do then?
Sure, if you enjoy it. But then also, this is the thing where it's like, it depends who your target audience is, first of all, with events. If it's dancers and you want it to be a cypher vibe and then there just happens to be battles like you said with yours, cool. Like, you've catered your event to that, right?
Yeah, to a niche within a niche,
Right, exactly. If this event is for the general public, there should be no fucking 6-hour prelims. Like, this sort of shit pisses me off, where it's like, I always talk about Battle Bad in Paris. They have 2 days. I mean, there's a lot of other events that do this. 2 days. The first day is clearly just for the dancers. Like, it's in a
all prelims,
It's just prelims. It's literally prelims on top 32. I think they introduced like
but
recently.
They get to do that because they're at the level where their event has that many attendees.
Well, yes, and Paris venues are easier to get. Cool. It's not like the same in London, where I think they were telling us, because it's in some side area of Paris, and the council helps them out, I think.
France has a different culture and infrastructure compared to the UK.
But it's kind of, they had it in UK Champs though, where they had the like one day is more like the prelim day, and then the next day is the like show day, and this is the top 16 and blah blah. And this is where, if you ain't dancing, you don't really come to cypher. You come dressed nice. You might come to look at the chicks. Or
that's
whatever.
what Break Mission is this weekend as well. Day one is all prelims down to semifinals basically, and day 2 is all stage.
And I
semifinals
bet you there's a better crowd. I bet you on the
finals?
second day there's a better crowd.
100%.
Because they're not made to sit through cross-legged like a fucking primary school kid.
Yeah.
Sit through a sweaty, stinky event for 6 hours and then the battles start. I'm like, no, because by the time it's finals and it's like 12 at night, and I've been here since 9 this morning, and I might have even done a prelim round, I'm not making no fucking noise. Like,
no, I get that. You're tired.
You know what I mean?
That's normal though, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think this is the thing where it's like, I don't know how we got on this about hosts, but like if the crowd is dead, a lot of times it's the event that was long and made you killed the crowd and then are wondering why they're dead. And then also it's like the host. I don't like when hosts just straight up say like, make some noise. Like, come on guys, come on, make some noise. And it's like, make me make some noise. Say something that provokes a response.
Give and take, like give me something and I'll give you something. Like whether it's in a cheesy t-shirt throwing in the crowd or just different ways to engage the crowd and try different things throughout the event. Obviously, hosting isn't an easy job.
No, 100%.
Because look at it this way, like the way I see it, I see dance events as as like they're doomed from the beginning to fail. That's how
do you mean?
That's how I look at dance events,
Right.
Because first of all, the majority of attendees at your dance event are out of towners.
Yeah.
People aren't like, if you have 100 people entering your competition, 95% are not from that city.
Sure.
Especially in the UK, and most places anyway, There's more outside your city collectively than there is in the city, right? So from that perspective, I think your events are failed to start unless you have like the general public as part of your event. Or your Justable level where it's all dancers and only dancers, sure, and some public as well, but
you're so ahead of everyone.
It's exactly like you're on a different level. You're
Summer Dance Forever,
exactly,
BC1, all that.
But that's top tier competitions, right? We're talking about everything else.
I wonder if even BC1 it doesn't really attract a outside audience. It's quite niche.
Yeah, I mean there will be outside audience for sure. There will be, but it will be
but not anymore.
Mostly breakers or people who aren't breaking will go. So like so your audience and your spectators and your competitors are all from out your city, so you don't have local support. First of all, that's one perspective. And the other thing is, most of the people at your event are all dancers from your own culture. So you're not there to excite yourself at other people's dancing. You're there because you're entering a competition. Sure. You're seeing your friends. You don't care about the 90% of other people. So you're not there to make noise anyway. You know what I mean? You're not going to the event like, yeah, I'm going to go down to support and just make noise. No, you're going down to see this person. You're going down to fucking kill it in the competition.
And a lot of times, even if you are there to make noise, it's for your boys.
Because if my boys, for your people,
if my friend is competing,
if your friend's in Red Bull BC finals, you're gonna go to see your friend, but you're not gonna come, clap for everyone else.
I'm shutting up when other people, but on purpose.
Yeah,
I'm like, fuck you around.
And then imagine like your event has a decibel meter. The person with the more noise wins. Like you're not making noise at the other person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think from those two factors and some other factors, I think dance events are designed to fail from the start. So it's very tricky to have events that run longer. So like you were saying about podcasts not reaching 3 episodes and then 12 episodes. Same with dance events.
True.
Most people don't reach 2 events,
Yeah, that's true.
Because they don't understand how much money goes into it, how many divas there are in the scene, unexpected expenses.
Yeah.
So many factors, And
I think for me, one of the big things, which I'm not going to say too much about it now, but I'm trying to put some plans together to rectify, is that I think people don't understand the dance or the structure of the event. And that's a real recipe for not giving a shit.
But I think to your first point, people not understanding the dance. I think that dance is different for different people. So younger people are experiencing breaking or their dance style much differently to people 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And they're not looking for the same thing out of it.
But I'm talking about general public.
General public, okay.
Because, when the Olympics is on, if you tune into a sport like running, cool. Easy to get on board with running. I think that's why it's so popular. Whoever crosses the line first wins. Cool. Where's that guy from? America? Cool. Where's that guy from? Fucking India? Cool. I want this guy to win because he looks cool. I'm going to just fucking pick...
You're back in your country,
Yeah, my country, or I'm just going to pick the guy that looks cool, or the favourite, or the underdog. First one to cross the line wins. Cool. When I turn on fucking curling, I struggle to give a shit.
Is that the thing you...
Exactly. With the brooms on the ice. I struggle to give a shit. And the first thing I'm going to do...
That's in the Olympics?
Yeah.
Okay.
First thing I'm going to do, if I want to give a shit, I think it's Winter Olympics.
Okay.
I could be wrong though. First thing I'm going to do if I want to give a shit is ask somebody how does it work, or Google the rules.
Yeah.
What are the rules? What's the objective? What are they trying to do? Now there's stakes. Now I understand. Oh, cool. Because if that thing goes outside the circle thing and they don't fucking brush it in time, they'll lose. And it's like, oh, this team are up by 6 points and they can only get the same points if they get the thing inside the circle. Cool. I understand the objectives. there's no explanation when you turn on a dance event on the live stream, or when you go to an event.
That's a very good point.
No one explains what the stakes are. If
you're already assuming the audience knows what the event is and what to expect and how it works.
And it's very different. I think the most we get is like, and for the place in the finals, that's what the host says. That's the most you get. Like, you don't get a whole breakdown. Again, like, I want to work on that. It's way off in the future, but that's something I want to get involved in doing. But it's like, you need something like basketball commentators or MMA commentators or not commentators, because I don't know that I liked that when I saw
it. You have the commentator, and then you have the
what do you call that? That's what I'm trying to
the pundit.
Like in the middle and before and after, they talk about the.
No, I just mean like when you watch football, you have two commentators. One's like the professional, and one's the other, the general, the normal dude who chats casually. So you have that perspective of like someone from within and someone from slightly outside, but has an understanding a little bit of what's happening.
But I think with commentating, I think from my perspective, like what a lot of people didn't love was people talking over the music.
Yeah, that's another thing.
And I think that's fine, but you don't have to. You can talk before and then after every battle. But if we knew what the stakes were, okay, this is this person is this, they've lost their last 3 battles. Every time, like, they have all the facts and stuff that come up. Like, all right, last 3 times that Karam has battled Sonny, he's lost. If he wins this one, it will be this, blah, 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 whatever. Like, just something
make it exciting as well,
Yeah, and a little like, okay, this person is this, and if they win, there's a little fucking animation that goes up to the next, like just something so that like my mum could sit down and go.
And I think we're heading towards that slowly.
Yeah,
slowly, but I think slowly we're definitely gonna get there, especially with Olympics, because that's gonna be the first of hopefully many.
Yeah,
and it's only gonna get better with each Olympics as well. So obviously the Youth Olympics in 2018 in Buenos Aires was a trial.
Yeah,
Olympics loved it. Now we're in 2024. Now the way I see this is also another trial.
Yeah.
We get one chance to do it well. We get one chance to do it well, and then 2028 in LA, and then 2032, and so forth, until it's permanent. So, I think it's definitely going to get better, and breaking in the sort of sport perspective is only just beginning. Really, as an art form, as a culture, we're very established, and we're set in our ways. And we have our foundation. Within the sport sort of realms, we're very new. A lot of people and a lot of other sports and disciplines look down on us. Yeah. But wait till 2024, we're gonna fucking kill it. Yeah. It's gonna be the number one thing.
But also it's like,
but it'll get better as we go on. Yeah, and this is
the thing. It's like every sport was probably looked down at it in its first Olympics. It's like, it's not like, I think people have a chip on their shoulder that like, oh, breaking is amazing, and how dare you think that or how dare you question whether it will work in the Olympics? And it's like, because it's never been in the Olympics before. Like, it's normal. If you were like when skateboarding was there, like, yes, there's like amazing skateboarders. And
look at the skating and the BMX.
It's been amazing.
UK winning, like England winning gold and stuff, and young people,
I think it's just like, the town. And it's natural for people to be like, I don't know if this is going to work. And it's like, it's fine. It will, or it won't. But it's very high chances that it can follow the formula like skateboarding did, like fucking even something like rhythmic gymnastics, where it's like there's this is ice skating. Like, this isn't the first. It's not like something completely alien. Like, there's been dance sports or artistic sports in the Olympics before. It's gonna be fine. But it's natural for there to be a bit of
there's the resistance to everything new.
Yeah,
always. Even like one of the books I've read when the printing press came out,
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people burning printing presses and stuff. There's always resistance to something.
And I saw some it's the same with everything with technology and stuff like that. But when
social media,
people were writing on stone shits, and then
chiseling
books started happening or whatever, they were like, oh, this is going to be the end of education, like book. And it's like, it's not.
Even within DJing, from vinyl to digital.
Yeah, actually, let's talk about that.
That's a big thing.
What's your stance on it?
I couldn't give a shit, mate.
Okay, what do you DJ with?
Everything. I play on Serato with vinyl. I play on CDJs. I play on controllers.
Explain Serato for people that don't know what it is.
Serato is a program, which is an interface that links your laptop and the music you have on your laptop to the decks, whether that be a CDJ or a vinyl turntable, and it lets you play control tones, which has a signal on it, So any song you load on your laptop, this control tone will read it, and you can play it like a real vinyl or a real CD. It saves me carrying hundreds of records to every event.
Why don't people like that?
It was resistance in the beginning. Like, obviously, there's still purists out there today, you know. Even this weekend, like, I'm playing, and Deck One, who's like a former mentor of mine, like, he's strictly vinyl. But we're playing together.
But what was it? What's the pushback against Serato? Why would people not like it?
Back in those. So when I was starting out DJing, you know, 10, 12 years ago, whenever it was just at the beginning, towards the end of the whole debate and the debacle of vinyl versus DVS, digital vinyl system. And that's just to do with people and being set in their ways and being resistant to technology and, you know, adapting, basically. And obviously foundation in hip-hop DJing is records and digging and stuff and all that stuff. But if I can...
But does it make it easier for you to DJ using Serato?
Besides
having access to more songs, does the actual process of DJing change?
It did a little bit for me, but only because, not to say that Serato changed me. It's the fact that I have Serato and I wanted to do more than just play 2 records.
Okay.
You know, but now I'm incorporating more effects, incorporating just loads of things. Like, we can get technical about it if you want, but just it opens up different ways to do the same shit, you know? And you can do the same thing in 100 different ways now. So it's just exploring creativity for me, right? That's what it came down to. But yeah, the whole thing was resistance.
But if you learn on Serato, could you feasibly just pick up vinyls and play?
No, I think the not issue, but like where that debate specifically was more so with laptops and controllers.
Okay.
So people, you know, were not afraid, but they just didn't like the idea that I could go on my laptop, rip 100 songs of YouTube and just get a controller or get Serato, and now I can play other people's songs, you know? Because in hip hop DJing specifically, it is about having your own identity, just like any other part of hip hop, whether it's dance, breaking hip hop, popping, locking, whatever, or DJing or graph, whatever. It's about having your own identity, your own songs, you know?
There was the same, and is maybe still the same argument about YouTube for dancers, where it's like, people are learning and watching too many battles from YouTube and they're missing... I've said this before when I'm teaching, but like, if you watch a battle on YouTube, often you miss the point. Like, you miss a lot of shit that's like intrinsic to being a good dancer. You just see the part where he balanced on his toe. Yeah. So when you during dance, you just balance on your toe and you're like, well, everyone's going to go mad. But then now the problem is all the fucking crowd have just been watching someone balance their toe on YouTube. So now they're making noise for the thing that you've misunderstood, because they've also misunderstood the same thing. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, in that way, there are elements of dance which in some places are lost because we're not watching it live. And it's partly not watching it live, but it's also partly just not understanding the dance. And kids are just going to be kids. And it's the same as me. Like, when I first started popping, I was just doing waves. I don't give a shit about fucking learning to have good hits or do boogaloo. Like, I don't give a fuck. It's like cool tuts, some glides, some waves. Like, that's all I give a shit about. So, yeah, and I think that's the same that's going to happen. But there is a...
And same thing, like, now with DJing, like, it's never been easier to DJ than it is today. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I see a lot of people, especially in the pandemic, that get into DJing.
Yeah, and, like, I'm teaching DJing now as well, you know? And it's great. But, like, the podcasting, not everyone's going to stick with it, you know? It is a numbers thing, and then that numbers thing becomes down to the quality thing as well. Like, not everyone's going to stick with it. Out of the few that do stick with it, it's the quality ones that will stand out, you know?
And I don't think like,
and also just to finish off that point, like, when you're playing in clubs and bars or whatever, like, the crowd don't give a shit what you're playing on. Yeah. The dancers don't give a shit what you're playing on in the battles. They just want to hear good music. Yeah. And you not to fuck up their rounds, you know?
I've never given a shit as a battler.
Right? I'm not going to dance to this DJ because he's playing on CDs.
Just imagine in the middle of my round, I'm like, wait, this is Serato.
Listen, the first UK champs I ever played in 2017, I think it was. I was on CDJs, including the final. Or 2 days I was on CDs. Not by choice. Yeah. But, you know, because I can play on CDs, I can play on everything, you know. I was able to. There's 3-4 DJs. There's only one set of decks. Like, even the first break mission, like, I remember there was a few turntables that were not working because when it comes to DVS, digital vinyl system, like, you know, you're using older equipment with newer technology, so it doesn't always work perfectly, you know. So we're having to go through a few turntables, and like at the end, I just played on one turntable the whole event. Yeah. UK Chancellor played on CDJs, the first one I ever did. Like, that's me being able to adapt. Yeah, but still doing the work. I could be a diva and say like, no, sorry, not working. Yeah. Because it's not fucked. It's all fucked up for me. Like, you know, but I'm not that guy. The amount of times I've been at events and I've told the organizer at setup, like, yo, this is fucked up, this is fucked up, this is fucked up. But don't worry, no one's going to notice because I'll make sure.
Yeah.
You know, and the amount of times mid-battle, something's fucking up, like the needle's not working, the signal from the bass is all messing up the decks. Someone's just done a flip and the needle's just jumped as well. Like so many issues, laptop dying, someone's whatever. But, you know, no one notices because like I make sure, you know?
Yeah.
I have to, that's my job, you know?
Yeah, and I guess that's as much as
the one DJ fucks up, 300 dancers aren't dancing.
Yeah, and that's as much part of being a DJ as
it's a big responsibility.
Any of the actual skills of DJing, I guess, you know. Yeah. Similar with photography, I find there's a lot of parallels with that, even with the vinyl versus Serato kind of thing. Is like digital and film photography. It's like
mirrorless or whatever you want to go.
Yeah, it's like similar. It's a similar conversation, I would say. And conversely, like what you were saying, where it's like using the CDJs or whatever for you is the same. Like it doesn't make a difference to like if you're good, you're good.
Because I practiced. That's why, you know. I listen, like the one I remember when the whole thing, because I started first 2 years of my DJing, I was on vinyl, strictly vinyl.
Yeah. Because
of my mentors and the whole foundation, like this is true break DJing, blah 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 blah. You know, you saw a fall for that a little bit, but you know, I was asking around other DJs who I looked up to around the world. Thanks to social media, they can get in touch with them and they'd be nice enough to reply, you know. And one of them from America, main one, put it to me simply like, yo, Grandmaster Flash had Serato back then, he would use it. You know how I know? Because I play with Grandmaster Flash. I've supported him a couple of times and like, he plays with Serato.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, that put it simply for me like, yeah, okay. I have no problem with it now. I don't care what the people say. You know?
Yeah, I think it's like, and again,
just do me.
I'm translating this whole conversation to photography in my head because it means the same. Like it makes sense that way. But like, I think, tell me if I'm summing this up nicely. But like, you can do the craft with tools that make it easier if you care about the craft at its source. Like if I know a lot of people that buy digital cameras, don't know what the fuck they're doing, and either call themselves a photographer or don't call themselves a photographer.
Change the Instagram name straight away.
Oh yeah, like I mean, I did it to an extent, but I had help, which is different. I didn't really do it the same way because when I first bought my camera, I know it's funny because it came up on my Facebook memory, so I was looking back at the conversations. But one of my friends from Watford is a really good photographer. She did fashion photography for years.
You're from Watford, yeah?
Fuck off. I'm from London. And she, when I first asked for advice on buying a camera, what camera should I buy? Here's my budget. Anyone know? And I tagged some photographers. And she said, here's my advice, buy this or this or this. But she goes, but focus on the craft. And I was like, and I looked at, literally last night I was looking at these comments and I said to her, like, what do you mean, like, focus on the craft? She was like, buy the camera that you want, buy just a simple lens and just fucking learn what you're doing. Like, don't buy lots of different lenses. Don't buy all sorts of fancy shit. Just figure out what you're doing. Put the camera on manual mode, figure it the fuck out, right? And I know a lot of people that don't do that who are way more into their photography journey than they should be to still be using the camera on auto. And it's, no, I mean, it's like, that's my first stop. And people will argue and say, oh, but you can use it, blah, blah. But for me, this is the same conversation. It's like, yes, now I could put my camera on auto and create good stuff, but I care about the craft of photography.
That's like the sync button with DJing, I think.
Sure.
You know?
Right. But is that something that you would use?
I've used sync loads of times, bro. Loads of times.
But it's also something that could give a beginner the false hope that they're a DJ. Kind of.
Not to say that false hope that they can mix.
Right. Okay.
Cool. A DJ doesn't have to mix. I know. Look at the old school DJs, bro. Like some of them old school funk DJs I play with, they don't mix, bro. They let the song play out, fade in, fade out, fade out, fade in. You know what I mean? That's the most basic way to mix. You know, most basic way to mix is that.
Got you.
And some of the dopest DJs that we know do that. So it's down to the selection.
So when people use that sync button, they kind of get that false hope, like, oh, I mixed the track.
It's like cheating, you know.
What does it do? It matches the tempos.
Yeah, it matches the tempos on the beat grid. So like if it's out of time, it brings it back in time, and you can do a mix of two songs playing in time. You know.
So it's literally just press the sync and then.
Yeah, as long as your beat grids are set, you know. If your beat grids aren't set, then you just screwed yourself up even more, basically. Right. Yeah. But like I use the sync, but that's not because I need to use it. but because I want to use it to try something different. Like,
Sure.
you know.
And if even if you are cheating a little
beat
bit,
matching is easy, bro. Come on, this DJing is boring sometimes.
Right.
When I'm playing clubs and bars because I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to mix. I play a hip hop song.
And you got
you got to let the verse play. You got to let the chorus play, and you might mix after the first chorus or sometimes after the second chorus. I'm just waiting because I already know. Like, not to say I don't know what I'm gonna play. I actually don't know what I'm gonna play next. I spend more time looking for songs because in clubs and bar sets, which are anywhere between 3 to 7 hours, you know, if I had a pre-made playlist for every set, my 7 hours would be horrible, slow and draining and boring. So,
and it's kind of like a performance in a way. Like, you can't be on your phone. Like,
no.
Do you know what I mean?
I am on my phone.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, because I'm, you know, depends on the type of gig, but most bar gigs are like just, you know, like,
they don't give a shit.
yeah, you're not there to see DJ Kung Fu. You're there because you're in a bar and you're playing for the bars, you know. So as a working DJ in that sense. So sorry, where were we going with this?
Serato
Sync
versus
Sync. So like for me, like I don't play pre-made playlists because I want to at least keep it somewhat exciting.
Yeah.
So when I do find the next song to beat match it and to mix it, takes me 5-10 seconds of my experience, you know. So now I'm just waiting to mix. So when it comes to using sync or other tools or digital vinyls and even CDJs, like it's just doing different things, you know, to keep it exciting for yourself. So when I have you sync, for example, I'll use sync because I'm changing tempos drastically. So one song could be, you know, 100 BPM, which is like a Tribe Called Quest kind of pace. But then I want to go into this remix that sampled this song that's like 120, 130 BPM. Now we're at like house and garage sort of speeds, you know? Well, that's not going to mix well, but if I bring this speed down to 100, press the sync button, now when I move this next song back to its original speed, this first song is also moving up and speeding up now.
Right.
Now, you can't do that on vinyl, right? You can do that on Serato with vinyl, in a couple of ways, but it's not intuitive. You have to sort of figure it out a little bit. But like regular CD and vinyl, you can't do that sort of creative mixing, you know, like especially with some pitch range. Like a turntable only has a plus and 8 minus like pitch range, you know. But if you think about older ones, you can't get crazier past that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, you know, it's just opening up different ways, making it more exciting. Look at some electronic DJs, bro. They do some of the most amazing things, I think, compared to hip hop DJs when it comes to technology.
Yeah, I think it's the same as the conversation of like using, I guess, like the conversation about, let's say, like Kool Herc or these early DJs. And we're back. Yeah, where were we before we were rudely interrupted, and the people will not know why. They will know why we're not on.
You mentioned the name Kool Herc, but I can't remember where you were going with that.
The difference between when Kool Herc or these kind of early breaking DJs, when they used the turntables as like an instrument, let's say, it's kind of like they were using the most, let's say, like up-to-date technology they had to play around and have fun and blah blah, whereas maybe people in their time were like, oh, you should be learning to play the violin, or I don't know, some other shit. Whereas like now it's like
disco.
People are like,
what is disco? You know?
Yeah, like oh, you should be learning the old ways, but you're like, well, I'm using my most up to date technology to play around and have fun and be creative. And it's not. Yes, there's elements that it makes.
Or what you can afford, you know.
Yeah, and what you can afford, and like it's, you know, it's like saying, I guess again in translating it into photography terms, like film photography. There's definitely something to be said about, and then maybe this is the same, but there's definitely something to be said about. Film photography teaches you to be a good photographer because you have to. Like digital takes away certain things that you can't learn with film. Like I can shoot, like if I wanted to take your portrait, I could take fucking 60 pictures and just pick one that was good and say, oh, I took a good portrait. It's like, well, it took you 60 shots to get there. Like with film,
you want to get to the point where you only have to take one shot.
Yeah,
and it's the one. You know what I mean?
Even still, like film photographers, like even I think I'm not bad, but even someone of my level of photography on film takes way less shots than I do. Even though I'm not shooting like fucking 60 shots for a portrait, I'm shooting maybe like 7, let's say, but they're shooting 2. You know what I mean? So there's something where it's like, okay, you're getting the thing in a quicker way without any.
It's the same
variance.
with if you have a background of DJing on strictly vinyl and mixing on vinyl and scratching whatever and juggling, then you can play on anything.
Right.
You know, like if you can play on vinyl, you can play on anything. Like I started on vinyl. I learned CDJs very quickly because I had a radio show at university and the decks were being serviced. So I adapted to CDJs real quick, and didn't take me long. You know, controllers are the same thing. Laptop only DJing is even easier. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sort of like reminiscent of your point earlier, where you're telling people, you know, your friend who gave you the photography advice, like learn the craft. Like same with DJing. I tell people, first of all, know why you want to do it, and then second, just get a cheap little controller or something. Just see if it's for you. Why do you want to spend $1,000 on decks and a mixer and speakers and headphones and records? Like, and then the amount of people I know who've bought decks and records and then just sold them off months or a year later.
It's all the gear, no idea.
Yeah, you know, I like that.
There's a photography guy. When I first went to buy my camera, he was like, he told me the story. Like, I literally walked in the shop. I was like, I've never done photography before. I want to buy this camera. Mine was like 500 quid entry level DSLR, which is like, I mean, to spend 500 quid, you got to know you're interested in it, but it's also not. Like, my camera now is worth more than double that. So, like, when I went in, he was like, literally yesterday had a guy that spent like 10 grand on equipment, which is easy in photography. Like, if you, or even in video.
Even in DJing.
If you want to spend 10 grand, you'll do it easy. And he was like, he came back in like 2 days later and like lost almost half because you can't, he sold it on or something like that, or like turned it in for second hand or some shit. And it was like, he couldn't get the full price back.
So why would you want to start with that investment when you know it might not be for you? So just, you know, sample it, try it out, you know, try it out on my decks, you know, whatever. But I don't advise people to go spend out that much money and not be for you.
For sure.
Actually just try something, get something small and cheap, cheerful, and give it a shot, you know, see if it's for you. And if you want to take it seriously, you can always upgrade, you know, like, it's easier to upgrade than it is to downgrade. You know
I think with upgrading, same thing with photography, you upgrade because you know what you want to do and how you want to do it and why you want to do it. Like
that, but also I think you upgrade because you get to the point where you've actually done everything you can.
Yes,
with
you've pushed the limits.
That you know what I mean? Like now you're at a point like, cool, I know I can do this, hands down. Let me improve. Let me level up. Let me try something new and exciting for myself.
100%.
And then you upgrade, you know?
Yeah, and like if you, I guess, I'm drawing the parallels between photography and DJing, but like, say with photography, you could buy a really, if you bought a fucking 10 grand camera now, assuming you Googled how to use it and get the settings right, you could kind of fool yourself into being like, oh my God, I'm a really good photographer. I'm a really good videographer. I can make amazing films because the footage would look sick. Do you know what I mean? If you got it right. But it's like, there's so much you're missing that you would have had to learn if you had a piece of shit camera. But
then imagine you had a piece of shit camera and then you master that and then you got given this a dope camera. Like you would do much more things with that creatively than the person who just bought that straight away. You know what I mean? Now, if they master that and then they upgraded, it's the same situation. But again, if you give them a handheld camera, like, you know, they might not be able to use that properly. You know?
And it's why now...
Like you get some B-boys that can do power but can't do foundation or basics, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's like, I can probably... There's some... Again, I'm not the best photographer in the world, but I don't think I'm terrible. And if there's some photographers who, if they took their high-level camera, I could take my phone and probably do a better shoot than them.
Yeah.
And there's photographers that are way better than me that could probably take a worse phone. You know what I mean? And I could take the highest level camera.
I can go on your shitty decks and do a better job than you did.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And it's like, it's not the equipment when... It's just like you get to a point where you're like, oh, now I know. Because there was a point with photography where I was like, oh, I need a new lens. I know why, and I know exactly what I want it to do. And I know that my camera doesn't do this shit. It's not just, I want something fancy. You know what I mean? It's like, I guess it's the same with breaking, where it's like, DJing, where it's like, you know why you need that fucking sync button, or you know why you need more of the song, not just because I want to have a
mixer, or why I'm buying this needle or that. Like I've upgraded a couple of new things in the last couple of weeks as well, and some mixer adjustments and new upgrades in the last few months. But just because I'm ready to do that now, that's why I didn't buy it from the get go. But now I'm much more skilled at it than someone who just gets it straight away.
It's an investment when you know what you're fucking buying.
And it's my work. It's my job. Like I have to invest in myself. The amount of people I know who don't invest in themselves, it's a shame because they have potential and talent, but they're not putting themselves out there or giving themselves the chance. Like, but it's costing so much at this one time. Yeah, but look, it's this one-time investment for life. And when look at it that way,
I think when you get it right, and you grow with your jobs, grow with your investments, the investments like don't seem that big anymore, I guess, because now it's like
It's funny you say that, because I was looking at some equipment this last week, just some new things, and I was just thinking randomly, I was looking at some things that were like, you know, a grand and above or whatever, and I wasn't even flinching at those things. Whereas I remember, and I caught myself, because I was like, if this was me even like 2, 3, 4 years ago, I would have been like, nah, out my range. Yeah. Now I'm looking at it like, oh, that's cheap. That's cheap for what it offers. Not the monetary number, but for what it's worth or what it's offering. I look at it as like, oh, that's a really good value.
For what it's worth and what it can add to your skill set, but also this is what I always think of. How long will this take to pay for itself?
Yeah.
So like,
and that's the thing.
My £500 camera that I bought when I bought a £500 camera, it was like, holy shit, £500, blah blah. I've gotten that in half a day's work now. So now I'm like, oh, cool, to spend £500
It's
on
in the first 6 months of my DJing, I didn't have turntables. I had records.
Yeah.
I didn't have turntables.
What did you do? Use the people's...
I used to go to Jam's house, play with his turntables and play in bars you know. But yeah, I didn't have turntables because I just didn't... Like, not to say I wasn't saving the money, because any money I did end up saving or working for, like, I just bought records.
Sure.
I didn't have that mindset of like, no, let me save up for this type of investment.
But also, if you were getting your practice in anyway.
Yeah, and also Silence was doing a radio show at Custard Factory, so I used to go down there and practice all the time. Even when he wasn't in the radio show, I'd just go and practice anyway. So I had access to practice, you know. And then eventually a friend gave me a turntable, then I bought a Technics, and then another 3 months later I got my second Technics. Then I bought a mixer. So, you know, slow adjustments. But initially, like, I didn't have my own equipment to practice on, but I'm buying records like an idiot, you know?
Well, yeah, but I guess you can practice on anyone's decks.
If you have someone to practice with.
Yeah, but you did. But you can't practice. You can't just make music out of nowhere. Like that was, I guess, for you that was the more important thing, was to have more records and then just take them to
because I'm not playing MP3s back then. You know what I mean? Like I'm playing strictly records back then, and now I'm at the point where I'll buy a record still. Don't get me wrong, but you know, there's a lot more things available on the internet that aren't on records.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think like I've always been kind of, as much as I call myself an old man, but it's like.
Yeah, you're an old man. I'm not an old man.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
Yeah, we're the same age. I'm 30, almost 32. Same age, kind of the same age.
I wish the camera was on right now, so you could look at my face.
No, but like in terms of hip hop wise, like there's some bits where I feel like a grumpy old man, and then there's some bits where I'm like, just fucking like, let's not be.
And there is this whole sort of balance / responsibility of the breaking DJ of preserving culture foundation, but then what is actually like, what is today's music that the kids are fucking with, you know? Like that's a big question, and you know, it's a very polarizing question as well. Yeah. In terms of the dancer, because the dancer will either fuck with you or not, right? Yeah. Like, no, I don't like this
that
guy.
DJ's shit or
trash or whatever, because they only like, he gave me this dead ass classic in my battle, or he only plays this blah blah blah, or he only plays funk music. Like, give me some hip hop, or kids are like, no, I want some trap, or I want some of this new shit that I like. That's cool, but like, you know, there's unwritten rules to an extent that defines your genre, that your style of dance, and you still have to not abide, but you have to still stay within the framework, and that's a difficult thing to do sometimes when you're trying to
experiment.
Experiment, or have your own little evolution, or even just to try and remain current, you know.
And there was
because you know, a new DJ can come along and take your spot usually. Because you play the hype shit.
There was a battle at Summer Dance Forever. I don't know who was DJing. I could guess, but I'm not going to.
What style of dance we're talking about?
Hip hop. Mm-hmm. And they played a song by Drake called.
Oh, it's that half BT one, isn't it?
It's the one that's like. Rat-tat-tat-tat-tat.
Yeah. I remember watching that battle.
Yeah.
The dancers killed that track though.
Right. So this is the thing.
Only because they killed it.
It was YD and Kefton.
Yeah.
They went.
YD kept it. He killed that track.
Like they're both.
Came out second. No, Kefton came out second.
You know what's sick is like YD knew the song.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
I from my knowledge of dance, I think he knew the song. Mm-hmm. Right. I don't know. I haven't never spoken to him.
He's probably listened to that new music because that's him.
And I mean it's a Drake song, so it's like not
it's not underground,
too obscure, but I'm pretty sure he knew the song. Like the way he danced to it, I would be very surprised if he guessed that. Like you know when you can tell.
It'd be amazing if he didn't know the song and he did it.
Yeah, but I think I know dance well enough to know when people have been amazing guessers or they've understood music and they've like, but this is like he planned some shit that I'm like, nah, I think you knew that song. I think Kefton didn't, right?
Yeah,
Again,
I would agree. I think.
yeah, for people can go watch a battle back. My analysis is why didn't the song Kefton didn't. That's why I was so impressed with both of them because sometimes when you know a song, this is a bit of a tangent. Sometimes when you know a song, you almost don't dance that good to it because you know it too well and you like
you get lost in it sometimes.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I want to hit everything and I can't.
I've had that with dancers like, yo bro, I knew what I was gonna do, then you play that song and I just lost it. I went hype.
Yeah.
And I forgot what I was gonna do.
Or it's too much pressure.
You know?
It's like I should kill all the beats. So if you miss one, you're in your head about it.
The obvious accents, right?
Yeah. So Whitey like destroyed that song. But then also Kefton destroyed it for a different way. Because if it's true that he didn't know the song like I imagine, his reaction and understanding and knowledge of music was amazing. Do you know what I mean?
His round is phenomenal. I think. You know, the way he played that round, I think was sick.
Yeah, agreed. And he didn't just copy the way that he hit that Whitey hit the beats. You brought his own thing to it. Like, yeah, I mean, Kefton has an amazing ear anyway. But my point being is that DJ could have flopped if he didn't play that for Whitey and Kefton.
And that's another thing. I'm waiting on songs that I haven't played for like 5+ years because I haven't found the right battle to play for.
Yeah, and this is what it's like playing the hype shit or playing the dead shit is like if it depends on how the dancers react to it. Because that song, there's a lot of dancers that wouldn't have enjoyed dancing to that. You just not got lucky, but you picked really well that
and it's made DJs change their mind too. Like, I never thought I could play this song for a battle. I didn't know I could play this for a battle. Like, okay, or I'm gonna play this for a battle because now this is a battle track, you know?
Yeah.
Because Kefton killed it, Whitey kept it.
It changed my mind on that song. I was like, oh yeah, I get it. And a lot of times that happens is like you need one dancer to, like you said earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you need a dancer to kill it to be like, oh yeah.
That's how I got into Drake.
Yeah. hey, let's not talk about Drake.
You know what I'm
we'll
saying?
argue. No, but like
I've been paid twice to play Drake songs, you know.
Have you?
Yeah.
Where?
Man. In Manchester.
What do you mean paid to play it?
Someone paid me 20 quid to play Drake's song one time.
Which song?
I don't remember. This is when I only had 3 Drake tracks in my library back in those days. Because I was very much onto the I don't play current hip hop, rap, blah, 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 many years ago. And and then I slowly started to get into it. And then like, you know, I had like 3 songs that I really liked by him. And then, there's one bar, like this dude's like, hey, you playing any Drake? You know, you got any Drake? I'm like, yeah, I played one song a while ago. Yeah. Wait, I'll play another one soon, you know? And just ignored him. And my mate's with me. He's like, yo, what deal? He taps me, like turns around, like he's got 20 quid in his hand, you know? I'm like, alright, cool, pick one.
Sick.
Pick a song.
Play whatever the fuck you
Pick
want.
a song. I got 3 choices here, you know?
Yeah.
And then what's funny, a couple weeks later, like I was in a different bar and somebody else came up to me and offered me 20 quid to play a Drake song, and I took it. I'm like, and the same 3 songs, I just let him choose one, right? And he goes back into his group of friends. I noticed his boy with his group of friends is the other guy that paid me the time before.
Yeah, but he probably saw you and was like, oh, just give him 20 quid, he'll play it.
Yeah. I don't mind, mate. 20 quid.
Yeah, why not?
That's 20 quid for 2 minutes of work,
mate. I'll fucking play any Drake song.
You know, the way I look at it, that's a good business.
Anyone out there that wants me to DJ, I'll play anything you want. I have no integrity. Okay, so here's my next question. Are breaking DJs in the battle scene better than hip hop and popping DJs?
I think in terms of DJ ability, I take that back. I would say I can't answer that question. And the reason I say that is because there's different skill set involved. A breaking DJ, yeah, I think so, because a breaking DJ might be able to cut and juggle, but they might not be able to mix.
Okay.
A hip hop DJ might not be able to, like a hip hop battle dance DJ might not be able to juggle the way a breaking DJ does, right? Which is cutting the breaks up and going back and forth, whatever. But then their mixing might be more better.
I don't know that I've ever heard a fucking hip hop DJ mix.
No, but maybe in the ciphers, you know, not in the
okay,
battle.
Cypher's different, but this I'm talking about.
In battling, you know what I mean? Battling is easy because it's like it's one song per round as a standard.
Yeah, but you know what?
Now,
this is what always pissed me off as a battler.
Which I don't personally do all the time, you know, because
mix.
Change the song every round.
Yeah, and this is the thing because this for me shows a bit more understanding of dance, and this is what. And again, if there's DJs out there that do it, apologies, but.
Yeah, but if the dancer went out and they're fucking with the song, why change it? You're just killing their vibe.
Yeah, but the thing is that annoyed me is like, right, so what will happen is like a B-boy goes, all right, the battle starts, there's a song where the hype is coming. There's maybe a bit of a longer intro, and then the beat drops. Everyone's going mad. The first dancer comes out, dances. Second dancer comes out, responds. Then he goes. The first dancer goes again. Right. This is round 2 now. Either the song stays if people are loving it and the vibe's still there, or it changes. But in the second song, there's no intro. It goes, it drops or it mixes in, and it doesn't just drop. It usually it takes however long a mix takes to get to the next song. So it gently eases in, keeps the flow going, the tempo, the feeling is maybe similar. And sometimes the first dancer in his or her second round starts dancing maybe on the original track, but it starts to mix and then it becomes the second track while they're doing their second round, right? This happens all the time in breaking battles.
All the time.
What happens in hip-hop and popping battles, I find, in my experience, from my perspective, before anyone cusses me.
Call him out.
Yo, show me videos if I'm wrong. Is the first, there's an intro, it hypes up, blah, blah, blah. The first dancer comes out, the second dancer responds. Then the song finishes, it fades out. Then there's a second round. We have another intro. It goes speed. It's like there's no. If you're the first dancer and you want to respond to the second dancer's rounds, you can't.
I hate when you play an intro and you have time limit in your round. Why would you play an intro when you have a 45-second time limit?
Well, I've always, as a battler, and I think this is something that my experience has told me, and I've also decided to take the risk on occasion. But is that most times, 9 times out of 10, I'd say, they don't start the timer until you start dancing.
That's the good events. Not every event does that though.
Sure. And that's where I said I take a risk. But I've always been I'm not, because I see some younger dancers that they feel that pressure. And as soon as the song starts, they start dancing and there's still the intro and they waste half their round. And I'm like, if you had just stopped and waited, it's very, most of the time, they're not going to start the stopwatch until you've started moving. So if you purposely stand there and wait,
unless the event's made it clear, your time starts now. But then the DJ has to be able to adapt,
And even more so if it's the first round, because they don't know who's going to go first. So that's what I've always done, and I've always kind of had I'm when you're looking at the opponent, you're like, please understand what I'm thinking right now. But it's neither of us go first. Just wait until it drops, and then we'll pick who goes first.
Exactly.
Because I'm not going and fucking up my round.
In breaking, it's more like you don't go first because you want to see what the bar is set at and what to.
I think we do that in hip hop.
Of course, it's a competition. It's bound to happen, and sometimes it's sick when it happens when you got 2 high-level dancers and you have a standoff. Sometimes it's sick.
I think because of YouTube and stuff like that's become a thing that everybody does, but doesn't quite know why.
I just don't get why both of you waiting to go up, but then the first person goes out, calls the other person a chicken. Yo, you both just wasted 2 minutes of my song. I had this dope song, and you're wasting my energy and everyone's energy and the song itself to the point where now the impact that I wanted the song to have has been lost because the dancers chose not to go out because it's a waiting game thing or whatever strategy you have in your head. That makes, not to say that makes my job harder, but that makes it's just shitty for everyone, I think,
There's a whole bunch of battle tactics that I think people have seen on YouTube and they do without knowing why they're doing it, and it does not have that much effect because everyone wants to go second. All the dancers who are younger are like, hey, no, you go first, no, you go first. And it's like, do you know how intimidating it is to want to start a round and someone goes out first and says, no, this is where I'm from, I'm going first. I could, if I go second to that, if I'm in Paris
and you go second,
and a French dancer says, no, we're in Paris, it's my round first.
Yeah, you lost
That's
already,
scary
bro.
as fuck, bro.
Yeah,
and then to watch
that battle.
and to watch that and to put the doubt in my head to say, I don't think I can fucking even match that, let alone beat that. And I have the crowd go mad and be like, have
a battle strategy,
and have the time to realize, oh, I'm not at home. You know what I mean? I'm all this is sinking in.
You could kill it, but no one's gonna make noise.
And this is where it's there's actual tactics in battles. It's not just doing stuff that you've seen other people do. When when people, I don't want to go on this tangent too much, but when people talk shit to each other in battles, and it's why are you talking shit right now? I've seen people do it to friends of theirs in their own crew and call them a biter and say they've repeated stuff. And I'm like, that's when we used to battle, when we first battled, right? We used to, I'm sure a lot of people still do this, but we used to do a thing where, and it wasn't me that invented this, Mus and Lee, where it was if we both get to the finals, we'll split the money.
Yeah,
whoever wins.
That's more common now, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, exactly. It's like we're not. So then why are we competing trying to make each other look shit? And the other thing we would say is like, just before we go to a battle, it's like, oh, me and you are in the finals. It's like, let's put on a show. It's like, it's not about beating each other. It's about we're going to make the...
Celebrating that you're both there, you know?
Yes, but final. Also to like make the crew look good. Like we're in the finals. It's going to be the most fucking lit battle of the whole battle. This is not going to be boring because I want you to remember who was in the finals. Do you know what I mean? And if we're cussing each other out...
And you throw in a random routine out of nowhere together.
Yeah, like, exactly. You know, like I don't want to make you look shit because you're in my crew and I want all of my crew to be sick.
Just let the judges pick who they think won, you know?
Yeah. So I think people just see that b-boys talk shit to each other on YouTube or wherever, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's how battles work."
They're the nicest people off the floor and so polite and humble, but on the battle they just get aggy all of a sudden. I don't agree with it myself because look, you chat shit, you get banged sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Right? And you chat shit to the wrong. But I've seen it. Remember that jam in 1 2 freeze, bro? Come on.
What happened there?
I don't think the audition was the one you're at, but you know. Someone in the battle crossed the line and nearly got their ass beat up.
I remember someone getting called out the one I was at, but I don't know if
it wasn't a call out. That was a straight up beating about to happen. Right. The guy was ready to jump off the balcony to run away.
Jesus Christ.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying who, but like it's gotten to that point. It happens. Even punches and kicks being thrown in breaking battles. It happens, you know?
Even outside of actual fights, some people are talking shit and they're not ready for what they're going to get if they like, even just dance wise. It's like you're talking shit to someone that's about to smoke you. Why are you doing this? Like
that's all you have.
Yeah. But like, so this is the thing. I've been in both situations, right? And it's worked and it hasn't worked. But I've been in the situation where I've battled someone that I know is about to smoke me. Usually I shut the fuck up and I smile. And I make it look.
Take it on the chin.
It's like, yo, this is an enjoyable experience for both of us. That's when I get in my fucking
for the culture.
Yes, spiritual, cultural dancer vibe. I'm like, oh no, but it's an exchange. Like I'm so
ass roasted.
I'm so happy to exchange with you, and it's just all about.
It's
the
an honor to dance against you.
In my head, I'm like, damn, I'd smoke him if I could. And then I've been in the other situation where there's someone who I think is a better dancer than me, but I'm like, if I piss you off. I think I could get in your head and I could win.
But I love that shit though.
Yeah, me too. And I've always loved that shit. And
it's not about being abusive. I think it's about, getting in their head.
It's 100% that. Like, and that's the difference.
The intention. How you go about it is
exactly. And sometimes talking loud shit doesn't get in someone's head, right? It's like the little shit that gets inside. All right, I'll tell you a story. This is the thing as well. It's like some of the best fucking battle tactics you can't see them on YouTube. I was in Denmark, right, and I battled what's Sonny's boy's name? Torfik. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
From the Ruggeds.
Yeah. You All Stars battle or something? No.
It was All Stars battle. Okay. Yeah. We were invited for this thing. So I went to Denmark and I was like, I knew I had him first round. He's fucking sick, right?
Oh yeah, top level, high level shit.
So sick. But I was like, right, my only chance, and you have to think this way because I was like, I don't want to try and lose. Only chance is an all-stars battle. I might not get a breaking song. And in this, it might be that it's equally weighted, like how well I destroy the music as opposed to how impressive his shit is, right? So I had this whole plan in my head, right? I was like, let me go in. I'm just going to be calm. I'm going to be small and intricate. And I'm going to purposefully make the contrast huge. He's going to be a b-boy, which is by nature energetic, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to be smaller. I'm going to make you focus. I'm going to do a lot of intricate, a lot of information and make you consider that versus the energy, right? And I'm going to try and balance it rather than try and compete with him on energy.
So you went out first?
I went first. Now, here's where he fucked me.
Okay.
In about a second and a half, he fucked me, right?
Okay.
Because I'm not used to good. Well, not that I'm not used to it, but in hip hop and pop, we don't have a lot of good battle tactics like this. It's breakers that have like.
Yeah, that's where it comes from. I think, you know what I mean, even chatting shit and like house battles. It's not a house thing.
It's an exchange.
Yeah, that's coming from my hip hop side.
So I go out first, and I do a little like circle to like show my confidence and own the floor. I go to shake his hand because he's like smiling and being nice. Go to shake his hand. And he did the sickest thing anyone's ever done to me in a battle. He shook my hand. And as I continued to walk, he just held on a little bit too long just so that I had to stop walking for a second. Like literally that. And then he let go. But it just threw me off my game. And it fucked up. It just knocked me off my thing. All he had to do was just hold on a little bit. He just gave me a little tug. like that, and it just whoop,
That's a certainly dominance, that isn't
bro.
it? You know what I'm saying?
And I lost my entire game plan.
Yeah.
I just started doing.
Go watch Tawfiq versus Spin.
Yeah.
From a Glasgow event called Resurgence that Chaz does.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it.
That was like the longest. That was a battle at that event that had the longest standoff. And
yeah, right.
It was worth it. You know what I mean?
Sick.
And then Spin did something really funny, which is like, he went out first, you know, and everyone started clapping because they've been so long. They've been waiting, and everyone's like clapping finally. What does Spin do? He goes up to Tawfiq and grabs him and tries to pull him into the battle instead. And you know what I mean? And that was just like, whoa.
It's like
it was a great moment, you know, like.
I have to say that was one.
Like this, you know,
that was one.
You can't touch in Corona times, but I'm just saying.
No, yeah. But that's one. Was it AJ and Jordan? When AJ
Jordan smashed that.
That was a good tactic.
I missed that during the battles, but then my boy Andre told me about it, and when I watched the stream back, I was like, you know what, Jordan did well.
Yeah, and you know what was even
that entrance was dope.
I mean, he for sure lost that battle. No offense, like he did, but he gave himself a good start by doing that, because what was even better is like AJ was looking at the crowd, so didn't know what they were cheering for. And I've had that so many, like, you know, when someone looks away and someone does something, and then when they look back, they're like, oh, they're cheering for me. Like, no, so that was like battle tactics wise.
But that didn't get to AJ. Do you know what I mean?
This is the thing, and it's like, I don't know
that didn't phase him one bit, man. He still killed it, you know.
And you can tell he's battled before. Like, he might have been confused. He might have not wanted. He was like, oh, I didn't expect for you to go first. I thought I was going to go first. But he was like, all right, let's go.
I think that's literally his mentality. He's like, all right, cool.
Yeah, and good battlers...
Go ahead.
Yeah, like, good battlers won't be phased by that. That's the thing, like, that thing that Tawfiq did to me. Mm-hmm. If I was more in practice, that might not have thrown me off my game. It had been a while since I battled, and I wasn't used to battling high-level people. I was battling locally. Mm-hmm. So... battling him,
and
I was
a breaker as well. Like, that's different,
a good level breaker with good level breaker friends in the crowd, and I'm not in my country. If I was in London, that might not have thrown me. Do you know what I mean? With all my people,
all the breakers would have made noise for Tawfiq. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's just like, these things where it's like battle tactics are way more complicated than.
It's art of war, and like, you know, it's not all just physical. Like, obviously, it's your skills that do the talking at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not all just physical. There is a mental element to it. You know, when you show up to a battle, like, you know, DJs, dancers, anyone, you go into a battle, like, you're gonna go ready mentally.
Yeah.
And if you're not in that state of mind, you can get shook very easily, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how we got on that from me talking about hip hop and popping DJs.
I don't know. We've been talking about a lot of random stuff, man.
Yeah. I had a beer.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I just like, that's the thing that annoys me with hip hop and popping is like, the battles don't seem to flow as much in terms of being able to jump in and
but it's
respond.
the same thing in breaking sometimes, you know, depending on the DJ. You know, they might change the song at the wrong point.
Yeah, right.
Not match the tempo. They've started doing a routine and you're changing a song mid-routine. So you have to be very aware. Hip-hop and popping DJing is less visually draining on the DJ compared to breaking DJing.
How do you mean visually draining?
Because as a breaking DJ, I have to... If you watch any footage of me, say from Red Bull, for example, you know, because I'm on stream the whole time, you'll see me look at my laptop a lot of times. And most of the time you see me look at the dancers, but I'm not looking for more than a second at a time. Right. And I'm using that 1 second to read the moment where the dancer is in their round. They're still carrying on the footwork. Okay, he's going to do a longer round. You know, oh, he's stopping early, blah, blah, blah. Cool. I have to adapt. I have that 1 second of information to then adapt. Do I let the song play? Do I cut the song here? Do I juggle here? Do I do this? Blah, 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 blah. Do I mix it? How do I change? How do I transition? All these different factors go on, you know? And not just the dancer, but I'm constantly looking at my equipment. Is something fucking up? Is something going wrong? You know, there's so many different variables to consider. So when it comes to DJing for a high level breaking competition, there's a lot more happening for the DJ than there is at a hip hop and popping battle because of the nature of the dance.
Right.
Breaking is so impactful and so short sometimes, you have less time to react. Hip hop in its nature, hip hop dancing that is in its nature, and locking, popping and house dancing, you know, you do tend to take your time and you don't have, you know, if there's no time limits, then the rounds are going on for more than 30 seconds on average anyway. Minute on average, I would say, right? You know, unless it's a time battle. Timed battles are actually the easiest to play for because, you know, 45 seconds, there's a countdown, you know, 5, 3, 2, 1, you know, easy. Like, that's done. Your job is just to listen, you know, and have a nice track ready. But when you're a breaking DJ, it's a lot more going into it. A lot more information to take in, you know. And a lot of people asking me, like, you know, how is it DJing when you're DJing for breaking, it's no different than breaking itself. Same rules, same sort of principles apply. But the dancer is exerting himself physically, and at the end of the day, the DJ is tired mentally. That's how I put it. So you're the physical, I'm like, you're the body, I'm the mind, you know.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just as tired as you are, but I'm tired in a much different way, but also exhausted compared to the dancers who are also exhausted, but they're exhausted in a different way to me, for example, you know. So it's just as draining, it's just as long and hard sometimes. But yeah, I would say hip hop and pop in DJing is not easier, but it is a lot less stressful compared to break DJing.
Yeah. It seemed.
Just watch me DJ, like how much I'm actually doing.
Yeah, it looks.
And then watch a hip hop DJ. You know, they're like the bar DJ. That's how bar DJing is for me, or club DJing. Like, I'm waiting.
Once the song starts, so you're waiting for the round to end.
Exactly. You're not cutting the song up. You're not doing anything to the song. You know.
Yeah.
It would be nice though if you're playing a simple loop that's, you know, repetitive and gets boring after like 30 seconds. Then as a DJ, you have to do something.
But also, we're not. In the defense of the DJs, we're not used to a DJ fucking with the track live. So it would take some getting used to, I think, if DJs started doing that.
No, but I think the way I would put that is how this owner of a venue once explained to me. So I show up to this new bar that's just opened up, and my first time playing there, so I think it's like the second week opening, and the owner is very particular about how they want the music to be in the bar and whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So we spent like 20-30 minutes chatting before I'm meant to even, like when I should have started, I'm 30 minutes late in my set technically because the owner's been talking to me. And then, you know, at the end of it, I just tell the owner, like, don't worry about it. Like, I got you. 5 songs in, you're going to love me. And they fucking love me, you know. I'm there like every week almost. But like the owner's one sentence that really resonated with me, which I still taking with me now, is you didn't want the music to be distracting at some point.
Okay.
And I think that's a really good way to put it. If I'm playing in a bar, you're sitting down drinking, you don't care what the DJ is playing on, how they're playing, and you're enjoying the music and you're carrying on with your friends, right? If the DJ fucks up at some point, you hear a random scratch or something, or a shit mix all of a sudden, and it distracts you from your conversation, the DJ's just fucked up now because it's distracted you. You don't know anything about DJing, but you know enough that something's just made you turn around and go, or interrupted your conversation, like, what happened there, you know? So I think that's the same thing with hip hop then, or if I was playing a hip hop battle, which I've done many times, a lot of times I will be cutting and juggling the breakup, but I'm not distracting the dancer. Whatever I'm doing on the decks is to make the song last longer, so to speak, or to make it sound fresher for a longer period of time, but without distracting or taking away from the dancer's concentration.
Yeah.
You know, that's why a lot of DJs that are turntablists, they don't work well for battles because they end up scratching over the music the whole time and it's distracting. But a little tasteful scratch here and there is fine, you know?
Yeah, I think I've had it a couple of times where it's like, it's about to drop, or the beginning of the lyrics are, or something are about to come in, and then the DJ cuts to a different part, and I'm like,
but then
that's what I was building up for in my round, is that one bit.
But they should be watching you.
Yeah.
They should be watching you. And if they see the dancer, like I said, the DJ's job is at dance events to bring out the best in the dancer. If I'm watching you and I see you're waiting and you go out before, I'm going to let it play. If I see you go out and you miss the lyrics and you're still walking around, then you don't care. Then I might cut it up and bring it back again. But sometimes you're waiting so long that the song's finishing. I've had that before so many times in hip hop and popping battles as well. And some breaking battles where the song's running out. Now you've been waiting that long that this 3-minute track is actually about to finish.
Yeah.
Cool. We've gone to 3 verses, 2 choruses, and this last chorus, I'm gonna repeat the song again. You just killed your own energy off.
Yeah.
So that's happened plenty of times. So the DJ's job is to watch the dancer and to react according to the dancer. That's my perspective. And then, you know, I picked that up from watching DJ Lacey interviews. You know, rest in peace. He even said like he's a legendary breaking DJ in our scene, and you know his interview on YouTube is a short clip from, I think it was Miami. He's like, yeah, I'm there for the dancers, you know. I'm there to bring out the best in the dancer. And like that is very, very true. You know, it doesn't get any simpler than that. The show isn't about you. It's a dance competition, not a DJ competition. Obviously, we have our own issues and our own gripes and agendas with the competition scene in itself. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it is about the dancer.
Do you feel like a DJ has any responsibility to be fair to the dancers in the way that 100%. They DJ? 100%. Because you know what you're saying.
I play the same shit for both dancers. You know, the same parts of the song.
If you, okay, that's one thing. But you know, also you were saying like earlier, like a good DJ will like
cater to the dancers.
Dancers, but there's also something in that requires a bit of integrity to be like. There's a fine line between, like, let's say, I don't know, are LB and Spin of a similar generation?
Yeah, they would like that was going to be like a rival battle if they met in the
Yeah, I remember from when the
first couple, when they were in the final.
The BC one, yeah.
It's something everyone I think was hoping for a little bit.
Right. You know? So let's say there's this fine line between LB and Spin are a similar generation. I'm going to give them this track because I know they're both going to like it.
Yeah.
There's a fine line between that and LB versus who's a new guy? AJ, is he young?
AJ, you can say Titan. He was younger there.
Titan or someone like that who it's like, I know LB's going to like this track, but this other kid might not like this track.
Then I don't make that decision to play that song.
But that's a fine line. Maybe you wouldn't, but that requires a bit of integrity. It's easy for a DJ to favor one dancer.
It's about knowing the dancers. If you don't know both dancers, then don't favor that other dancer you do know. You know, if you know one dancer more than the other, then play something that's fair. If you know both dancers just as well, or you sort of seen them dance earlier in the day and you understand what their vibe is, then you cater for that a little bit.
But would you see that as a DJ?
Depends on you
doing some bullshit. If you knew that they knew all the dancers and you're like, you're playing some shit that you know that dancer's gonna kill.
Yeah, if you've seen a dancer make a video to a track and then you play that same song to them in a battle.
Yeah, you're being a dick.
I think that's fairly obvious. Judge Showcase is different.
Yes, sure.
You know, but in the battle, like everyone, this dancer went viral to this track. Like, why are you playing this song again? You know what I mean? Like,
because you know he's gonna kill it.
It's a bit obvious, and even the dancer might not want to kill it because he's already killed that track before.
Yeah, I've had that a few times. There's a few times where Debo's played me a couple of Judge demo tracks,
and that happens by accident though. Like,
no, but I think
even LB made this joke last week and like, oh, I didn't hear this one song you've always played for me. And it's just because like
it just
I think twice I think I just happened to play it for him. You know.
Yeah.
It wasn't intentional.
No, I think Debo played me a song that I liked a few times. I was like, yeah, but this is the third Judge demo I've done to it now. But no, I think it's a bit different when you're not competing. His Judge demo is like, he was just trying to be nice.
Yeah, that's a showcase. You know what I mean? Yeah, I get that.
But no, yeah, I think that's something that, because like I always found that with, Renegade has that thing where he said that he always used to play for poppers like one funk track and one.
Yeah, he likes to theme his rounds a little bit. Yeah,
but I think I've heard him speak about how he wanted that because it like forces the dancer to show that they can dance to funk and to like normal popping, or let's say like new school popping stuff, right? But then it's like my thing is always like, and again, if I'm misquoting what he said, apologies, but everybody comes from Renegade anyway, so I don't think he's gonna give a shit about me saying that. But no, but like stuff like that, it made me think like, okay, but now you're affecting how the battle goes. So it's like, that's fine in the sense of
that is the DJ's job,
right? But then that's
the dancer's job is not to say job, but the dancer's role is to react to the music.
Yeah, sure.
And the dancer does not in any way get to dictate what the music is going to be, other than the wide genre.
But then we often talk about like, oh, this judge voted for their friends, or this judge from fucking Paris, and the dancer that won was from Paris, so he voted for his people. But then it's like, it's not an often had conversation of, oh, the DJ was biased, which is equally as often.
People don't pick up on it.
Right.
When it does happen, and it happens a lot more than people realize, sure, they just don't pick up on it. Because the attention isn't on the DJ in terms of, how they're playing or who they're playing for. It's more about what did they play. Oh, they played a dope track. Dancers did a great job. Now all we care about is the result from the judges. And because the result and the outcome of the dancer's fate, if you will, is dependent on the judges in the competition.
They're the ones that get the heat.
They're the ones that will get the heat more often than the DJs if they fuck up or show bias. I've had that where
I fucking battled Kieran in the finals of hip hop battles, and he gets a light feet track, and I'm like, you motherfuckers, like who
the one guy about light feet.
You know what I mean? It's like, what's gonna happen right now, like.
You're about to get toasted.
Like yeah. And I have never beaten him to a light feet track. But it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, you see, and especially if you're from the UK and you know me and you know Kieran, and you put a light feet track on, it's like, isn't that like, what's about to happen? Like, like I'm not saying put something that I like, put something that we're both equal, like put something like boom bap shit or something where it's like, okay, we both have an equal standing in this. But when stuff like that happens, there's not one specific thing I'm talking about with this, but it's happened a few times where I'm like, you must have looked at this. If the DJ just picked like you said earlier, picked a random track from their folder and it happened to be live feed, cool. Like, but if you look, but
you don't know that unless you speak to the DJ.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. And this has happened on multiple occasions. But what I think is like, and this is where my like eat bruised ego comes in, but like I'm like, have you looked at this battle, assumed that I'm gonna lose because Kieran is of a higher level than me at the moment, or when we were battling against each other more, and then decided, well, if Kieran's gonna win, let's give him a good song.
I have the
Do you know what
opposite.
I mean?
I have the opposite approach.
You'd give the underdog
No. I just give them, not to say a boring track, but I give them a throwaway song
a
sometimes.
neutral one.
Yeah,
That's what I would
That's why I call it
prefer.
throwaway. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Something that doesn't stand out too much.
Sure.
Because you know, like this kid is about to get roasted by
Yeah.
this. Not roasted, but is 100% losing.
Yeah.
There's no way that this person is beating at their level this person.
Yeah.
Unless they intentionally throw the battle, right?
Yeah.
Which never happens.
Yeah.
So in those cases where the level of the dancer is so far apart, you can't make that one person look so bad. You know,
Like you're also giving them a song.
by giving the dope dancer like a dope track that
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
familiar
yeah,
with.
yeah.
Like, so you really have to tone it down a little bit. You know, I tone it down.
Or especially if it's like a stylized.
Unless it's a final, you made it to the final, cool. You're
Yeah.
about to get toasted,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like prelims, top 16s or top 32 vibes, like I'll make sure not to make you lose so bad. You know what I mean? Like we all know who's winning. I know who's winning. I'm a
Yeah,
DJ. I don't even know the dancers, but I know who's winning in that battle particular. So let me just make sure that you don't get your ass so badly roasted
You
by
know
playing
what?
a neutral track. You know.
To go on a different tangent for a second, I won't go too deep on this one,
Mm-hmm.
but like, I think this is the problem with dance as a sport, because with skateboarding, yes, the judges have some leniency or some scope to put their opinion in, right? Like what a clean trick is fairly subjective, but the tricks don't change.
Do you mean objective or subjective?
Subject, like for me and you to say like, oh, that was a clean skateboarding trick, is like there's some subjectivity in that.
Okay.
Like you could say that was more or less clean, and
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I think it was more clean than the last guy, and you're like, no, it was less clean than the last. And it's like it might be a smaller margin, but there's some
There's room for debate, basically. Yeah.
obviously, like, you know, fucking bailing a trick in skateboarding is pretty objective, right?
Yeah.
But the ramps don't change, the course doesn't change, the boards don't really change, the tricks don't really change. Like there's different ways to do it, I guess, but there's a set. It's like kind of in a way, it's kind of like gymnastics. There's like set tricks that you can do, right?
Right.
In breaking or in dance as a sport, there's so many variables. Like there's like the dancers and these type of things, which is already subjective.
Yeah.
Like unless even in breaking where it's like, even in the most agreed, I said this was when I was talking to Spin on the pod, but like even on the most agreed upon level in dance, there's subjectivity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah,
okay,
it's an art. You know?
yeah, like you can't, like besides of something like who did more flares,
Yeah.
which now we're just turning it into gymnastics. Like there's,
That's a numbers game, then, isn't it? Yeah.
right.
Objective.
So, but then you have like all those things, but then even with the music and the DJing, it's like, who's to say that how could you ever make DJing a breaking battle 100% fair? You can't. Do you know what I mean? Unless everybody in the whole competition dances to the same song. Like how could you
yeah.
ever?
If you're talking about true objectivity,
Yeah. Like sports, like
You
a
know.
basketball went through the rim, it's a point. Like that's objective.
like to me, like that's the same debate as like nothing is truly random.
yeah, sure.
If you think about it, like the randomizer on your phone is an app that eventually will repeat the same sequence.
You know, I heard a story about
Yeah,
that.
I
That Apple's shuffle function.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be like, I think as close to truly random as it could be, and people complained that it wasn't random enough, so they had to create an algorithm to make it not random but make it feel random, because it's like actual randomness would be like it could be the same song 3 times, or it could be Christina Aguilera 3
Because
times
that
in
is
a row.
probable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but because they were like, well, my songs it's the same artist 4 times in a row every Monday. Yeah, and they were like, okay, so what we have to do is make each artist as far apart as possible.
Yeah.
So they created a sense of randomness that wasn't
Yeah.
random.
And then, same thing, how you can never be truly random or blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. You can never be truly objective when it comes to an art form.
True.
You know? No matter how much you try to dress it up as a sport.
Yeah.
And, while we're entering the Olympics and we're in a different limelight and a different sort of looking at breaking from a different lens now, it's still not it still doesn't define the dance, I don't think.
No.
And there's still room for, not room for error, but just room for subjectivity, which I think makes it exciting,
Yeah, I just to say on record, I don't have any problem with subjectivity in sport.
No, but
do you know what I mean?
But when it comes to sport and it being a fair competition, there
Yeah.
needs to be rules.
Sure.
There needs to be a judging criteria. There
Yeah.
needs to be standards for the DJs.
You need as
know what I
much
mean?
objectivity as possible,
as humanly possible.
while knowing we'll never
because
reach
it is like a science experiment.
Yeah.
You have to control all the variables to make it as fair for both parties as possible.
Yeah.
Because then it really is down to the dancer.
Yeah.
As long as you can take away all the other factors and just leave the skills as the truly deciding factor, then you've done a good job, I think, of making a fair environment.
I mean, like, yeah, it's just like, if you look at like football or basketball, right?
Yeah.
Like, England lost to Italy in the Euros, but people were still like, "Oh, this should have been a foul. This guy should have, the fucking dude that pulled the dude's neck.
Yeah.
Like, he should have been sent off. That would have changed the game. This should have been a foul. Blah blah blah. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, we're even talking about objectivity in something as clear cut as like, the ball crossed the line, it's a goal. Like, so
But then
in breaking,
the
imagine,
humans making the decisions of who's kicking the ball,
Yeah.
who you pass the ball to.
now imagine our version of the ball crossing the line is objective. It's like, and now you take it
But
to,
we don't have that. I don't think we have that in breaking.
what do you mean?
Like, ball crossing the line is as clear cut as it can get, right?
Yeah.
But in breaking, unless you have a complete beginner against a complete,
Exactly. There's no that's
there's-
what I'm saying
you know
though,
what I
is
mean?
like,
there is no way to actually define those boundaries.
Yeah,
is there?
yeah, and that's what I'm saying,
what
like,
the
our version-
objectivity, winning the result, like what defines a winning result in breaking.
yeah, it's only objective.
Like, no, I think it can't be truly 100%.
Sorry, it's only subjective.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we can try to dress it up and make it as objective as possible.
Yes.
never
It's
100%.
never, yeah.
Never 100%.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I say ball crossing the line is like our version of how you score, like winning a round,
Yeah.
is complete. Like, the version of like the how you score in football or basketball is not subjective at all. It's only objective. Whereas,
Well, actually, the point is objective, but the way you shot the ball is subjective. In a way, you could do
Yeah,
a
but the
layup, a
result is the
3-pointer.
same.
Yeah, the end result is the same, but
Yeah.
the process to it can be different.
Sure.
Whereas in breaking as a sport,
yeah,
I don't think you have that result defined either. You can do with the judging criteria, of course.
yeah.
But then
There's
there's still room for nitpicking all the time. You know what I mean?
And I think now you take that to the highest level with big prize money or the Olympic gold medal on the line, and it's like, so I have to like, even the most like agreed upon criteria is still subjective. So it's like, okay, I have to suck up that I lost an Olympic gold medal because you think that he deserved it, not because, like, it's like, if I lose a basketball game, I can see that I lost. Like, I see that the ball went through the rim. It's like,
Scoreboard says it all.
yeah, it's like, I can't argue with the fact that that ball went through that rim. But I can argue with the fact that his footwork was cleaner than mine.
Yeah.
Or that he combined elements better. You know what I mean? Like, there's...
we're definitely diving into psychology a little bit here, because if you think about it, no one's perception is comparable to another person's reality.
Right,
either,
exactly, yeah.
like, what we might be looking at the same thing,
Yeah.
but we can't ever truly objectively say that we are both looking at the same thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's like,
and because we're human.
I saw a video ages ago about what red looks like to you might not be what red looks like to me.
I had this debate last weekend at
Yeah.
Red Bull. So Red Bull gave us these goodie bags to all the guests and invites, which is
Yeah.
very nice to them. And in my goodie bag, I had all of the goodie bags had small Red Bull towels.
Okay.
Mine happened to be what I called purple,
Mm.
right? So I had some of the friends and people around. We're chilling in the room, and it was like me and a couple of the guys, and we had like two of the girls with us, and me and my mate were both saying that the towel is purple.
Mm-hmm.
I even under the light, it looked purple, like purple to me. And the two girls are saying, no, that's navy blue.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, right. It was that dark.
No, to me it looked purple. To them it looked navy blue. And they're saying, no, but men are colorblind, blah blah blah. Apparently that's a thing. And then out of nowhere comes our third mate, who's a dude, and throws a curveball. He's like, no, that looks blue to me. But then I put it under the light. He's like, nah, that's purple as well. So he couldn't make up his mind. But he's seeing both sides,
Yeah.
Whereas me and my other mate are seeing just the purple. And these two girls are seeing just the navy blue. So it's like, yeah, perception is the thing, man. And, that's down to being human, and that's down to everything we do in life,
Yeah.
regardless of sport, art, or whatever.
Yeah.
Nothing's truly, truly, truly objective. Even sciences are always changing paradigms,
But I think that's what sport has always dodged, is like the results have, like, there's no matter 15, 20 of us can sit there. No one, if a ball goes into a net or a ball goes through a hoop or if
look, you get Maria Sharapova complaining that Serena Williams is black and has better genes and has a better advantage than tennis.
Sure.
So do you know what I mean? So even though in tennis you can say objectively, like, you know, there is a way to define the winner.
Yeah,
but
there's subjectivity in how. Exactly. But then the result is like she might say that's why she won,
or why she's at a disadvantage. Do you know what I mean?
But she would never say that the ball didn't stay inside the line.
You can't say that, you know. But you can complain about why you're losing consistently to a one person,
right? Sure.
Or why this one person is dominating your sport. And you can nitpick and go down to subjective reasons. You know what I mean? But objectively, you still lost.
Yeah.
You know,
I had a big debate with Clara about this actually, about how. Because I was talking about the way I would judge, and obviously I'm not as experienced as Clara. But
Clara's a G.
Yeah, of course. But I'll argue with anyone, mate.
I know you love to argue.
Yeah, if I have an opinion on something. No, but like my thing was like, I'm not going to rehash the whole debate, but basically she was saying there's an element of feeling that she goes off in these battles and stuff, and I was saying I try and remove as much feeling as possible when I judge, to try and be as objective as physically possible. And she was kind of saying that that's not, she wasn't outright saying like you're wrong for doing that, but for the purposes of explaining it quicker, she was kind of saying like it's wrong to like remove all feeling, because dance is about feeling, and it's some things are like intangible almost, and you have to kind of go with your instincts. And I was like, I want to make it as much of a, I know I'm never going to reach a scientific objective conclusion, but I want to like remove as many biases, as many like, and just almost make it like two robots going. And just
I understand why you take that approach. And it's not anything surprising or new, but I would say that there's room for both of those perspectives, you know, and I think we need both perspectives anyway. And it depends on the event. You could be at an Olympic type event where you have to remove feelings. You could be at an underground cypher jam where it's all about feeling. So there's room for both, and we need both, I think.
I think that's kind of where we got to the end of the argument. Like it wasn't so much, I mean, it wasn't an argument at all, but like
it's just a difference in perspective, wasn't it, really?
And me and Clara love a long debate. Like she comes over to see Jen, and then me and her, and
you know, but mature people will be able to have that debate, whereas there's people in our scenes that are so set in their ways that they're not even open-minded enough to have conversations where, you know, the idea of them being wrong or them being not relevant or them just not understanding is just not even an option, you know? Like there's no, this, I'm right, or this is the way we do it and this is the only way we can do it. No, man, it's hip-hop. Hip-hop's always changing, you know?
Yeah, I don't know why people get like that.
Yeah, but we've all had our phases, though, you know? We've all had little phases. Like, I'm sure you had a phase where you were set in your way about something. Yeah, exactly.
Mine was when I was
maturity.
Young.
That's like I said earlier. It's all about maturity. You spend 10 years in the game and you sort of start to mature a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Or you should do. If you don't, well, sure. Good luck to
you.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is like that's why I don't get when people are old. When you're 18, everybody's mouthy and everyone does fucking Insta stories and gets gassed up about stuff and like
chat shit online.
It's like,
especially with social media now, you know.
Yeah, and I had it like when it was just Facebook, and that was bad enough. Like some of my
MySpace.
Yeah, but I wasn't talking shit on MySpace. That was before I was in the dancing room.
Really. You can talk shit on MySpace by removing them as a top friend, you know.
Yeah, I used to be mouthy on Facebook, but like I get it when you're 18. Everyone wants to do that shit, but you know, when you get older, it's like, I don't know, you should have some perspective in it. Yeah. Or other things to do in life.
Well, like just open-mindedness as well, you know. But also, you know, there's a lot of people in the scene who are just strictly and only about that one thing in their life, whether it be breaking or hip hop or whatever.
Yeah, true.
That's them. They wake up, eat, sleep, shit breaking, you know, and
sometimes you're too close to it.
You know, and that's cool. If that's you, man. Carry on, you know. But that's not me. That's not everyone else. And it's about understanding that there's different people in breaking or whatever you're doing, and there's room for everybody, you know.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Like, as much as you can be a diehard like breaker or dancer or whatever, you know, you can't force people to live life how you want to live. I don't think, you know.
Yeah, or agree to your standards of whatever you think breaking or hip hop or dance should be, you know.
Exactly. I've always said, like, I've always thought, like, if you force a culture, it's not a culture anymore. Like, a culture is a naturally occurring.
And it's a religion, isn't it?
That is a fucking good response. That really is. Like, for me, a culture is like a naturally forming thing. Like, the reason that breaking and the early hip hop parties were so dope and grew so much is because people just came because they wanted to and they thought this shit was dope. Like, not because people are like, you have to come to these block parties to preserve the culture and blah. You know, it's like you have to dance on the breaks. Go dance on the breaks, or you're not a real hip hop dancer. It's like they just did it because it felt good, and that's why the culture grew. And
like, why are you living in 50 years in the past when you weren't even alive back then? You know, the amount of dancers was strictly that vibe. You weren't around back then. You weren't growing up in those times and areas in that neighborhood with those people. You're not them people. Stop pretending like you are. Like this is so close to you. Like, come on, it's
this is my
grow up a little bit sometimes. You know?
And this is my whole issue with the like. It's almost like people push back on the fluidity of culture. Like culture changes and grows, and yes, people are going to try and take it in a way that's beneficial to them, and that's where it gets tricky. Is because you got the quote unquote culture vulture type of people that are like, oh, let's go this way because this way makes me lots of money. Like, but
get the views, you know.
For people that are like just in the scene or whatever, it's like, shit is going to change. It's like even me complaining about fucking hip hop music. It's like, if that's what everyone's enjoying, I would never ask the DJ to change it to what I like and say all the kids should dance to what I like. I'm just observing that things have changed. But if everybody is enjoying this shit, cool. Like, if I don't,
it's not your vibe, that's fine, you know. Like, but be mature enough. Like the amount of times I've played in bars and clubs and someone's having fun, like a whole group of people are having fun, and then one person comes up to me like, "Hey, can you play this?" And I'm like,
"It's gonna kill the vibe.
It's gonna kill the vibe. It doesn't fit the night. It's not gonna work. Sorry, but no, you know." And they're like, "No, but blah, 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 they're gonna love it. I'm gonna love it." Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but listen.
It's like my job as a DJ is to know that they're not gonna love it.
I'm playing for the room. I'm not playing for you. And listen, all your friends right there are having a great time. They're looking at you like you're a waste person right now, talking to me and, you know, killing my vibe, which then is gonna end up killing their vibe because I'm the DJ, you know. So, just if it's not for you, don't be there, you know. But just be humble enough to realize that and then move on and create your own lane.
I mean, it's too late in the podcast to get into this topic because we're gonna have to wrap up soon for the sake of the listeners. But
attention spans be short these days, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we're already 2 in a bit.
I think humans have now a shorter attention span than a goldfish.
Really?
I think so. Damn. I think goldfish is like a couple seconds more.
That's why goldfish don't have Instagram? No, I don't know.
If they did, they'd be better at it than we would.
No, I had a good conversation with my friend Lee the other day last week about our scene currently not really having much for its older participants. Like, if you're an older person, and again, it's a hard conversation to get into now in the last 5 minutes or whatever, but like, let's say you're older than, let's say, like 27, right? And you're like, you've battled, but you're
27 club.
Yeah. Like, but you're kind of past your best battling years, especially if you're a b-boy. You're just a bit older. Things have changed. You're not into the same things. You're not up for like spending the whole day fucking at an event ciphering or whatever. There's not as much for that demographic in our scene to participate.
I would say in breaking that is now true. Like there is room for those people.
Okay.
You know, in breaking we have Dirty 30s battles, Naughty 40s.
This is something I was thinking about hip hop, but
when it comes to breaking jams, like people around you appreciate you for just being an elder in the scene as well, and you have that good energy around you.
I think
so we have space for you, that for sure. And even when you enter a competition, like someone like Mouse can still enter a competition and win. There's space for him. Someone like an older person can enter who's not as high level, but they still would enter and they still be appreciated. They might not qualify or make it to the finals, but they're still valued for being there. You know.
But this is kind of what we touched on in the conversation as well. And obviously, it was a longer conversation with a bit more nuance than how I'm presenting it. But like, if you're not at that age, it's almost like the room for you is for you to give back, which is valid and it is part of the culture. But what does someone like Mouse consume? You know what I mean? Or someone in the older generation, like what do they get? Like if you're a younger dancer, you get a lot. You get this experience, you get to meet new people, you get to do this, you get to do that, like you get to win, like you get to fucking learn from people. When you're an older person, I'm not saying it's non-existent, but there's not a lot for you. Like, yes, the Dirty 30s, and these are the sort of things that I think we need more of in the scene. Like we need more, like
shout out Tenton, you know, he was the first one to do Dirty 30s that I know of.
I'd love that in hip hop. I'd love like a Dirty 30s or something like that.
That would be dope. Why has no one done that yet?
I don't know,
because I think, you know,
we're always 5 steps behind the B-boys.
You know, because you're at the point now where you have elders in the scene above 30, and 30 isn't even an older nowadays. You know what I mean? Like, You know, it's more about the year you spent in the dance scene than about your actual age now.
Yeah,
you know?
because Sonny's like might as well be a fucking like OG.
Yeah. Even Karam's been breaking since he was mad young.
Yeah.
That's why it's called Kid Karam, right?
Yeah, right.
Like, you know, guy's been killing it for such a long time,
Yeah.
but he's younger than most of the people in the scene.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
But it's just how long you've been around.
Yeah, I
for.
think it's and then you have this sort of dance wisdom about you as well. You know,
Yeah.
maybe not life experience or wisdom,
No, yeah,
for example.
but in the scene, you know how everything goes
when
down.
it comes to your art, you are intelligent as
Yeah.
fuck. You know.
I mean, this is the same with anything. Like, you get some of these NBA players that are like 25 and are like, you know, like they've been around for a lot longer than some of the other ones. But yeah, man, I just like, again, it's a hard thing to explain in short time. But I just think,
We'll save that for part 2. You know.
yeah, I just think we need more things for the older people to. That's why. Anyway, this is why I brought it. I was thinking, why the fuck did I bring this up? But talking about attention spans.
Yeah.
And it's like there are a demographic of us that aren't on TikTok and aren't looking at 5-second videos and like, oh, let's watch this same dance 57 times in different locations. And that's what I'm hoping to reach with the podcast. Is like people that actually want to sit down and listen to something for 2 hours.
The thing is, you have to understand, like any good business will have the small cheap product that they're just bagging out and selling all the time.
Yeah.
And then they have that one really pricey item that sells every now and again, you know.
Yeah.
And so with podcasting or anything with social media, you have the shorter clips that you blast out, and then you get enough people who are interested, or one person after they watch a few clips might be, even myself, like I've seen a few clips you post of someone and I'm like, you know what, let me go watch the full thing now, you know.
But it's only when you get a sense of it through the
exactly
clips,
you know. Same thing with flyering for events. Like a person on average isn't going to pay attention to a flyer unless they've seen it like 8-10 times. Then it gets into the head, and then they'll read everything, you know. So it's about just constantly getting in the attention. And it's just, that's just how humans are, you know, when it comes to memory and just involvement in general, or interest, you know.
Well, I fucking hope there's a place for this and there's a niche for this, because I think there is. But
yeah, man, sponsor him.
I'm not gonna keep doing this forever if no one wants to listen to it. But the Sunny podcast did numbers.
Yeah,
that was good.
But that's because, you know, of his following too, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's always like that. I mean, like, even when Joe Rogan has the like controversial people on, he gets more.
Yeah, not every episode of Joe Rogan's is a viral hit, is it?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
exactly.
But you know, a clip from every episode might be viral worthy.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
And I think also because he's, I mean, we could be having this off the podcast, but whatever. But like, because he's 1,000, 2,000 episodes in.
Yeah.
It's Joe Rogan that's like big. You know what I mean? Whereas like,
and that's the other thing.
He didn't do one interview and try and make it bang.
And I tell that people all the time, as much as they get it twisted, it's about your practice, but I think it's also about the quantity you put out.
Yeah.
Because you can be like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna put something out, whatever creative art practice you do, because it's not like, you know, ready, blah 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 blah. But listen, like Shakespeare's wrote hundreds of sonnets.
Yeah.
We only studied 12 or something in
yeah.
school. It's about numbers. Like, you do the numbers work and the quality will come.
And it's about consistency. How many people in the fucking
That's
battle
it,
scene do we
man.
know
You have
that?
to be consistent, as I call it. Just
We
finish
know
off
so
with
many
one.
people that have come and just like won one battle, but we don't give a shit about them, because it's like win 10 and then we'll.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like if anyone can win one battle on a day, like
Yeah, you might have had a good day.
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
Other people could have had a bad day. Do
exactly.
you know what I mean? So yeah, it is about consistency and the numbers, and then the quality does follow, I think, just naturally, you know?
Yeah, man.
If you focus too much on quality and not have the quantity, then I don't think you're going to progress as quicker in whatever you're doing.
And vice versa, I guess. You could have a million podcast episodes and they're all shit.
Yeah, but if you didn't have the million podcasts, then you might not be good objectively at doing podcasts, you know?
True,
Could be
true.
just the content that needs changing, but
Yeah.
you know how to do podcasts at least, right?
True.
At least I would hope so anyway, after 1,000 episodes, you know? But let's see you get to 100 first, man. you know?
Yeah, that's the aim. Hopefully there's some changes on the way, but it's slow and Corona didn't help. So
Yeah.
I'm
Well, we're
building.
getting back to air quotes normal now, you know?
Yeah, man. I was thinking about this also, just as a last thing. I don't remember meeting you.
Yeah, I don't remember meeting you.
I remember like even since when we were hanging in at your place in Manchester.
Yeah, Groove and Armature one time.
Yeah, way
I think-
back.
Who
I've
was
known.
it? You and Dennis, right?
Was it Dennis? Oh yeah.
Dennis, yeah. Making beats and shit.
Yeah, and that was before I bought my beat pad.
Mm-hmm.
But I already knew you.
I already knew
really
you.
well then.
I remember I already knew you at that Red Bull dinner where you came with Roxy and I came with
Yeah,
my mates, and
that was
I
like-
already knew you then, but I was like earlier on still, but I still remember when I met
I don't
you before
remember
that.
actually
Yeah.
meeting you. Anyway.
Yeah, I've got a few friends like that, you know.
Yeah.
But we're still friends today, you know.
Yeah. No, but I've always thought you were like one of those dudes that was like legit in the scene. And like there's some people I have like that, like all around the world actually, that I'm like, I don't know why we're so close. Like you're one of those people where like maybe we're not close in the sense of like we speak every day or we know intimate things about each other, but it's like, I don't know, I've always had a good feeling about you, or just like, oh, you're one of them like just legit dudes. And like,
thanks, man.
I feel this is something that it sounds kind of sentimental, but like, or emotional, but like I really appreciate friendships where I feel like I can be myself. If you know, and you're one of those people that is like, I don't know what, again, I can't put my finger on why, but like I've always, whenever I speak to you, I feel like I'm legit like 100% the same as I would be with any of my super close friends.
People let the guard down around me, you know.
Yeah.
That's why, yeah. But you know,
because you're a sexy guy.
Oh, thanks, man.
No, but I think
wish the camera was on right now.
We're kissing, guys.
No, we're not. I'm not.
Shut that one down quick.
Straight down.
No, but like super appreciate you as a person and
Thank
as a
you, bro.
friend, and for being here and
Thank
doing
you
this
for
with
having
me.
me, man. I was looking forward to this.
Yeah,
It
me
only took
too.
40 episodes to get me on.
Yeah,
you know?
we've been talking about this for a while.
because we live so not so far apart, but schedules and also.
Because you don't live in anywhere good. You should come and move to London like all good people do.
Fuck Watford. Nah, shout out to Watford. Yeah.
I don't live in Watford. Yeah, and bro, I text you when you did BC1 as well, but like I fucking love seeing you like doing well, and it's sick to just like see you killing it and people celebrating you. And I think like Kev had good words to say about your DJ.
Yeah, it was the first time he said it publicly, you know.
Yeah, Kev be like that.
He's told me I'm doing well privately loads of times, but like, yeah, it was the first time he shouted me out publicly,
Yeah.
which was a surprise, you know.
Yeah, I fucking
Kev's not like that, innit? That's why.
no, yeah.
Yeah.
But people like
It's
that
nice of
when
him,
they
you know.
do compliment you, it means more. I think.
Yeah, sure.
Like I'll still take the compliments.
No,
Then.
I'll take the compliment, you know. It's because you already told me in person, so
Yeah,
like that
yeah,
didn't,
yeah.
like it was just a little surprise that he'd put it on a story.
Yeah.
Compared to telling me in person or in a message again, you know what I mean? So it wasn't,
Yeah.
I wasn't taken back, but I did appreciate the comment 100%,
Yeah, man.
you know?
Yes, I'm just fucking happy to see you do well, man.
Thank you.
And yeah, I don't know if there's anything else. If you've listened this far, please do like and subscribe and comment and tell me your favorite parts and shit like that. I am working on getting this fucking camera sorted, guys. We're getting there.
We'll upgrade slowly. Don't worry.
The upgrades are coming. I'm just
The sponsors are
working on
coming too. Don't worry.
it. Oh my god, please give me sponsors.
You know.
But yeah, thanks for being here, man. Thanks everyone for listening. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. Peace out, guys.
Safe, yo.